Yeah. We won't bow down. Yeah. Yeah. They shut the gate too fast. Call it peace, call it class. But I see who they wave through, and I see who they ask to move. Porch lights on the same old block, same old story, same old talk. If your skin says you don't belong, they can make a wrong look strong. But the fences don't define us, and the fear they feel will blind us. Every face they try to hide still stands right here tonight. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. We know what that is about. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. Your fear won't right the route. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down. Names get tossed like stones from a driveway built on loans. They pointed brown hands first, then pretend they don't rehearse. But the steps on every street carry more than whitewashed dreams. We belong where we stand, no permission in our hands. Yeah, and the silence won't protect you when the pattern keeps on showing. Every wall they build in pride makes the truth come back alive. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. We know what that is about. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. Your fear won't right the route. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down. Let it crack, let it show. Every lie they try to grow, one by one, the voices rise till the whole thing can't disguise. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. We know what that is about. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. Your fear won't right the route. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down.
What it do, guys? It's your boy, the Juice. And as you all know, my name is Troy Bradshaw, but I go by the Juice. Listen, I wanted to catch up on a little bit of some Nolan Wells tonight. Just the other day, we were listening to some audio that has officially came out. People were saying, don't share that, Juice. You're sharing fake news. However, I mean, according to sources, it still hasn't been debunked. So until otherwise, I mean, we're going to keep digging and keep playing this audio and keep searching for answers for Nolan Wells. I mean, just like the same, for instance, with the Nancy Guthrie case, you know, Annie and Tommaso got cleared. But the same thing applies to this case like the other one. No one's cleared, you know, until they're able to determine the cause of death in regards to Nolan Wells. So we don't know. We don't really know yet until the autopsy report comes out. And like I said, I'm gonna keep digging. I'm not even gonna stop, you know, and it doesn't really matter, you know, really what people think. I guess it's just everybody's entitled to their own opinions, based on what they speculate, based on the theories that they come up with amongst ourselves. So until otherwise, the audio that's been played, according to what we hear in the background, that appears to be sounding what it sounds like to me. is real until otherwise. I haven't heard anything that debunks that really. I mean, some other people were saying that, somebody had said that audio wasn't real. However, no one's proven it isn't. And based on everybody that I've seen who's played the audio, it seems like it's legitimate to me. It seems like it's real. So, yeah, I mean, did Nolan, get on that boat, or did he stay behind with Katie? Is still in question. We know they got the GPS on the boat. So I think eventually, evidence will show, whether or not he got on that boat. Was Nolan's phone wiped? Was there things deleted in the phone? Is it likely to see somebody who's, a teenager not take pictures, on Horn Island? I mean, it's been crazy to see, the only person that's really been sticking up for these boys like crazy is, Officer Tatum, which is great and everything, but I mean, being that he's an officer, you would think that he would be able to try to see both sides of it. But according to his sources, because he spoke to the boys for a couple days, he's somehow convinced that they are innocent. They showed certain things to Tatum that he, really thinks that, well, it's really what's convinced him that they've shown him evidence-wise to go to show that Nolan didn't get on that boat. He really actually stayed. But we really don't know that yet. We really can't say. So, I mean, so otherwise we don't know. I was watching Tatum on the Nancy Grace show earlier today, and I'm not going to lie. I mean, she kind of made him look kind of foolish, especially with certain questions that she had. Comedy, he's a guy from comedy by the name of Hughley. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he's been going at it with him. It seems like every person that has something to say about what Tatum's got going on as far as how he feels about this case, he has a reply for everybody. When I think the main goal should be us coming together and figuring out, just simply getting to the bottom of this based on what happened to Nolan. So if you guys don't know the story, Nolan chose to stay behind with a group of friends that he went out to Horn Island with. Investigators were told that Nolan stayed back amongst the friends. Apparently, he never got on that boat. He stayed behind to hang out with some girl named Katie. Katie's sister came out and said that wasn't true, that he actually did leave with the boys, which contradicts the boys' story. And I think that's one of the things in the beginning of time that really made this thing take a turn. Although, I mean, they already knew something was up before we even heard all the details. So they reported the boys to be leaving around 4:30 p.m. while the boat was taking on water. GPS data confirms that the boat left without official GPS data. It shows the boat left Horn Island at 4:31, and Nolan was not on it, according to the timeline. CBS News previously reported Nolan was not on the boat when it departed. Witnesses say they saw Nolan still on the island after the boat left, and told police they saw Nolan as of 6 p.m. hours after his friends claim to have left. So the last confirmed sighting, Jackson County Sheriff's Office says that Nolan was last seen around 3 p.m. on the island, but additional videos show him at 2:23 p.m., but investigators haven't even confirmed the identity yet. Now, pictures have came out. People have shared those pictures. One Tatum showed earlier, showing that, it appeared to be Nolan outside of the boat while the white guys were on the boat. I still can't really, to me, it's not a good enough picture for me to see whether or not that's actually Nolan. It looks much darker in the photos than he does when we look at him in the actual photos that he takes with family and friends. So it's hard to say for me. As far as Katie, Katie's sister, like I said, she had came out and stated that Nolan did not stay behind with Katie to hang out with Katie. She says Katie believed Nolan was getting on the boat with his friend and that his friend should have never left. What's crazy to me is if that's the case and they got pictures of Nolan, why isn't Katie ever in any of these pictures that they took? I don't really see her around whatsoever. At least it doesn't seem like she's around. And maybe there are pictures, but I've just yet to see those pictures. So apparently Katie had a conversation and assumed that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat that he came out on. She said, her sister says that, she says Katie believed that Nolan's friend would never leave him, that Katie trusted Nolan's friends to make sure he got on the boat. Katie assumed that the friends telling him to get on the boat, that they wouldn't have left him behind. So Nolan stayed behind because he wanted to talk to Katie, is the story that the boys told. She says that Katie was not with the group. Katie says that with Nolan's group, Gracie clarified Katie was on the island with a different group. So apparently Katie wasn't even around these guys. She was never with them at all, according to what she's saying. Nor did they even hang out, is what I'm getting out of this. And supposedly Katie left the island with her brother Tony and his friend, not with Nolan's group. She stresses Katie has done nothing wrong. Gracie repeatedly said Katie has cooperated with investigators and is not accused of anything. As far as any updates today, I've heard that Nolan's mom, Christine, is preparing to sue multiple parties, specifically the parents of Nolan's friends and the friends themselves. This is crazy. And this could be why these guys are lawyering up. They might just be lawyering up for not only just for, their freedom's sake, but also so they don't get sued. And I'm sure you hear about these things before they actually happen, knowing, somebody's getting ready to sue you. Not only that, this case is national, so it's kind of hard not to hear anything. But the local officials involved in the investigation is also, I think, some people that she's aimed at to sue. Local officials, entities involved in this investigation. She's looking to sue several people. So these are groups of people who received formal litigations that preservation notices, which is the first legal step before filing a lawsuit. So it looks like her parents are suing several people, and I think Yahoo had confirmed the notices that were sent to the parents of the friends who were with Nolan on July. And these notices warn that a lawsuit is reasonably anticipated, which is crazy. And a lot of people are upset because they think that this particular situation for the mom and the dad is not just simply about grief. It's more about a money grab, especially when it comes to being Crump as well. So I don't know. I can't call it. I know he's there for a reason, and I know he's there to simply support the family and get the job done. Now, has there been some things that Crump probably shouldn't be doing, like going over the information in regards to the autopsy? Yeah, I would have to agree. So, but he's went above and beyond to do a lot, and I don't know if he's trying to get a bigger paycheck out of it or what, but he's definitely done more than a lawyer's supposed to do, if you ask me. And if I were them, I couldn't be more thankful of it. But some things are just not under his profession, especially when it comes to autopsies. And we saw that as Crump, read along and tried to, make sense of what he was saying, even though, he didn't really kind of prep for whatever he was getting ready to read or whatever he read revolving around the autopsy before he actually read it to everybody. So that, I mean, I don't necessarily have an issue with. I just wish it would have been put in somebody else's hands to make things more understandable. So that's that. But Nolan's friends themselves the same. My God, I lost my thought here. My goodness, I lost my thought. But anyways, all of these people that the mother is apparently suing have all been notified. So they've all been formally notified to, you know, preserve evidence because of the litigations is, you know, how do you put it in words? I can't find the right proper word for this. But either way, you know, I think that's a big part of the reason why these guys are getting lawyers, not just because of their freedom that might be at stake here. And if it is, you know, and you're innocent, you shouldn't be worried about you shouldn't be worried about your freedom being at stake if you're innocent. And all of these boys turn out that, you know, they're telling the truth. They shouldn't even really have much to worry about. And not only that, I think the proof will be in the autopsy. And not only that, I mean, it would also be in, you know, the evidence that they dig up from the phone. So the digital evidence is also going to come back, and they're going to be able to determine what was deleted and what wasn't. You know, as far as anything that took place that night on Nolan's phone, they're going to figure it out. Especially when it comes to, you know, the Snapchat, because I think, and that's the thing that Tatum brought up. He was saying that she wasn't really specific that, you know, what she was really getting at, specifically to what was being deleted or what had been deleted on Nolan's phone. Tatum thinks it was, you know, I think he thinks it was mainly like the social media stuff. And I don't know. But if they're innocent, all this wouldn't be happening. I mean, it wouldn't even really be, you know, any questions, you know, but everything has been weird. And I can't wait to play this video, because not only is Tatum on it, but Nancy Grace makes a good point. She plays a good video that makes a good point as well. But I mean, if these guys are innocent, which I'm really hoping they are. I mean, I want what Tatum wants out of this is for these young boys to be innocent. I mean, no one wants anybody to lose their life going to prison, you know, and it always sucks when you see a situation go from somebody dying and, you know, a life is lost. On top of that, somebody goes to prison and there goes another life because they're spending the rest of their life behind bars. And, you know, I really hope that this is a mistake and it's something that didn't, you know, I just really hope he didn't get murdered, because if he did, then it's going to be a sad sight, because that means that these boys sat in Tatum's face and lied right in his face. And the fact that he's an officer and he understands that, and he's probably had many people sit down and talk with him and come off like they're, you know, very convincing, like as if they, you know, they are believable and they're able to prove certain things that seem credible to whatever they're trying to get at, then yeah, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, you still got to be biased. You still got to be able to, you know, understand that this is it's an active investigation, and the job isn't done until we, you know, are exhausted of all evidence that says otherwise. You know what I mean? So I don't get why he's so, you know, so adamant to stick up for them so much. I mean, there's no doubt whatsoever. I mean, he truly believes these boys are innocent. I mean, he's really fighting for these boys, and that's good. I mean, at least they have somebody, you know, big on very successful on this platform, who's, you know, willing to vouch for these guys as far as their innocence goes. But I thought this video was very interesting that I think it's Hewley had put out. He's a very successful comedy guy. I think he's known for his stand-up and well-known movies that I've seen him in. So I want to go ahead and play this just real quick here. And we'll get started with the Nancy Grace, because we got to play some Nancy Grace tonight, because, I mean, there were some good pinpoints that she hit in regards to why these boys aren't clear. They are not clear. Let's play this clip just real quick here.
This is Brandon Tatum.
Y'all just see what unfunny ex-comedian D.L. Hughley just said about me. Posted a picture of me and my wife. To do what? To be a racist? You are the lamest dude in all of comedy.
What is more lame than calling yourself the job you used to have? You're not an officer anymore. You were a football player who failed at being a football player. You didn't make the team, so you became an officer. That wasn't working out, so you became an influencer. You talked about emotion. What is more emotional than this? You cried for a white dude who the people didn't even think you worthy to speak at his funeral. You said you wouldn't cry for your son, but you cried for him. That's not emotion? You talked of the way Benjamin Crump talks.
Just want to blame white folks. And so I go out there because I know that lame Al Sharpton and Mr. I can't read Benjamin Crump is just race hustling, y'all.
You talked about how those boys are innocent. You had proof. Now, I don't know whether they're innocent or not. I don't know what happened there. But I know one conversation with a failed football player and a social media influencer is not the predicate. You don't have any toxicology report. You don't have an autopsy report. You talked about black people acting a fool. Black people are right to be suspicious of a state that took 31 years and 3 trials to prosecute and find guilty the murder of Medgar Evers. Black people are right to be suspicious of a state that in 2005 found 215 black people that were dead and buried in a pauper's grave and nobody knew they were there. Black people are right to be suspicious of a state that just killed a 1-year-old boy and nobody's being brought to account about. Black people are right to be suspicious of a state that has been poisoning black people with the water since the 1960s. Black people didn't look for this fight. They want justice. All they want is accountability. And if it's those boys, it should be that. Nobody has a predetermined notion. I don't know what happened. But if you're saying that that Al Sharpton and that Benjamin Crump are on one side, you're certainly on the other. You talk to them for 2 days and now all of a sudden you know if they're guilty. You know if they're innocent. You know that. Your name is, your moniker is Officer Tatum, not Detective Tatum. You didn't make your way to detective. You're an influencer who says what white people want you to say. And don't you find it interesting that they chose to speak to you, and they chose to speak to you for the same reason that you're a conservative, for the same reason Turning Point did, because you're safe. They know you're a black man who'll do what he's told.
Yo, it's Big Ant, the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. Had to come tap in. And when it comes to this guy, Terrible Tatum, with him being able to connect himself to the latest trending, heavy, racial, dividing topics all over the internet, then go on to other platforms, whether they in the country or out the country, and get moments where he's speaking on things that are having very heavy racial conversations surrounding it, then him pushing heavy anti-black talking points and word semantics, antics, and gaslighting. And then you know how they do the word salad stuff and try to play the games. I knew that I was going to eventually speak on him on the channel, but why not do it now? Him and DL House nigga Hughley done got into it. And when y'all know me, if you follow this platform, my issues with DL Hughley, the way that he got down with Vlad and Shannon Sharp, told Vlad, hey, it's okay for you to be messy. It's okay for you to cause confusion and capital C's on your platform because I rock with you. But Shannon Sharp, nah, it ain't cool for him. And I said, oh, you talking like the white man ice is colder because it's for your anecdotal situation, it's beneficial to you. And I don't rock with Reverend Al Sharpton either. I call it directly how I see it when it comes to these things. Now, what they into it for, I wouldn't post nobody wife up. If I'm into it with you, I'm into it with you. I really don't get into that, like, let me post something personal up with you, but whatever. That's just whatever. I say how I feel, talk directly to it. I don't even know what went down with that, but it caused him to call out DL Hughley, and then now Hughley going at him, and I keep it 1,000. DL Hughley's 1,000% correct when it comes to terrible termite Tatum, because of the simple fact he's one of those guys that has found that lane, and that's really what I'm speaking on. Of, hey, bro, I don't really care about these people or this system of black people or what is went against black people. I'm gonna get on here and say the things that's gonna appease the other people. That's a way to come up, whether he really feels it or not, whether he truly believes it or not. It's beneficial, and
and to touch upon that comment, I mean, I'm not here to ease people either. Is in regards to people thinking that it's a race thing, because that's one thing I don't agree with Hughley on. However, I think he's 100% correct. I thought it was interesting that he posted a picture of him and his wife. I mean, he did that because his wife is white, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to say, well, that's probably the reason why he's, protecting these group of young men that claim their innocence as far as anything happening to Nolan. But I mean, that's not the case. I don't agree with that at all. But I do think that it's not something that should be. He just shouldn't be choosing a side. That's the thing. I mean, and he hasn't even got enough credible evidence from these young men to say, okay, they're innocent, And I don't even think he stuck around them long enough to even dig deep enough to figure out whether or not if he's being lied to or not. I mean, these boys that he sat down with could have easily lied to him. I think certain things that they're telling are the truth. However, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong in the end. But there's just too many things that have been contradicting throughout this story. And that's how I think that there's some things being left out. And mind you, I mean, he asked some decent questions toward the end, but he didn't really ask any hard questions. I mean, he asked some, as far as asking the young boy, Warren, if he killed, Nolan, and that, I guess that's a difficult question. But as far as digging deeper into it, to, see if anything that he says is questionable, he didn't. He kind of asked questions and he just moved on. And I think his goal throughout the interviews was not to get to the bottom of things, but to just simply prove the innocence of these boys that he interviewed. And I think that was his goals, period. I don't really think that he really tried to, dig deep to see what really, is in question.
Becoming more and more of a lane that people are choosing. Talk down on black people, especially if you're black. Go at your own people. Push the conservative line. You can get an audience real quick because of the way that audience is. It gets you black people. It gets you white.
Yeah, now that I disagree with. I don't believe that he did that. I think that he was saying that he didn't want Sharp and Crump to be pushing the whole race thing out there, because now it's become a whole race thing, and it takes the focus off of the case when it comes to us sticking to the facts, based on what really happened to Nolan. It doesn't have anything to do with race at all.
People get you.
But I think that's what made a lot of people more frustrated when it comes to Tatum. And I don't think he owes everybody a reply every single time, somebody like Hughley coming out or saying something. I mean, everybody's pretty much interviewed this guy at this point. But I don't think he owes everybody a response. I don't know why he's so bothered. Your opinion is what your opinion is. And like I said, I agree with a lot of the things that Tatum's talking about, except for the video. The video, the dispatch audio recording, he stated that there's none of that in there. No one's saying that. No one's even calling Nolan's name. None of that. But that's not what I heard. That's not what I heard. I heard it loud and clear. I mean, and Nancy's played it on her platform twice. People are coming out saying that it's not true. That stuff is fake. Well, who's proven that it's not real? Who's proven that that's fake? I can't call it. I've yet to see somebody debunk this dispatch call that we've been listening to for the past couple of days. I've yet to see anybody debunk it. Tatum came out and debunked it. He said it wasn't real. He tried, but no one was really listening. Deborah says, quit using the race card. We're all from one race, the human race. Who's using the race card? Somebody in the chat using the race card? Marissa says, I want autopsy. I do too. You and me both, for sure. Most definitely. Kelly says he's standing up for the innocents. What innocence? He hasn't even proven that they're innocent. I mean, he showed us, what, a couple pictures. Other than that, I mean, he hasn't really necessarily proved that they're completely innocent. And this is an active case. We're not here to just take somebody's word for it and say, okay, they're innocent. That's not how it works. That is not how it works, and y'all know that. You can't just go sit down and have an interview with somebody. They show you a couple text messages and a couple pictures and just say, okay, they're innocent. It don't work like that. I'm gonna play this clip here from Nancy Grace here. Well, it's not even a clip. I'm gonna play the part where she interacted with Tatum today. And like I said, I think she has some really good pinpoints. I mean, and Nancy Grace is like a prosecutor, so I mean, it's gonna be tough with her regardless, especially if you're trying to defend your point. But I mean, when it's an active investigation, that's what it is, and that's what it remains until the case is solved. If this even turns out to be a case, this might not even be a case. If it's an accident, then it won't even be a case.
Anything has been deleted, even if you delete it from the deleted file. Now, joining us, special guest, Brandon Tatum. You know him well. He's a former police officer with Tucson PD. That's what impresses me. What impresses a lot of other people is he is the star of The Officer Tatum. Officer Tatum, thank you for being with us tonight. Question to you. You interviewed, as we played at the get-go, several of Nolan's friends. Did they show you photos, videos, snaps of that day on Horn Island?
Well, Nancy, thank you so much for having me on. I spoke to 4 of the boys that are originally accused of being involved in Nolan Wells' death. And they did show me a lot of evidence. I want people to be very clear with this. I spent my career putting people in jail. My career is based on getting justice for people who have been done wrong. I've never been a defense attorney. So me going out and doing this was to find out what happened to Nolan Wells. And in talking to these young men, the burden of proof is they're going to have to prove to me. I'm not going to listen to what they say out of their mouth. They're going to have to show me. And in many cases, they showed me videos of Nolan on the island. They showed me videos of the boat when they were getting towed out, which is consistent with, kind of similar to what the phone call was. I mean, they showed me pictures of them with Nolan. They showed me phone records of them calling Nolan's mom and all of the above. So they seemed very consistent. They seemed very genuine. And they also proved to me some of the things that they had told me in the interview that I had with them that I have uploaded on my YouTube channel.
Officer Tatum, are you telling me that they had reception on Horn Island? Because many people are saying, well, the reason that there's nothing on Nolan's phone of that day, like there's no pictures, there's no snaps, there's no text, there's no anything, not because it was deleted, but because he didn't have reception. But you're telling me the other boys did have snaps, photos, videos, and reception?
Yeah, no, Nancy, let me clarify this for you. It wasn't that they uploaded this online. They showed me videos and things that they took from the boat during the outing on 4th of July. I was personally out at Horn Island. I rode out there on a boat, and I didn't have great reception there. And I left my phone in the boat when I got into the water and we were actually going out to do interviews.
Objection. Objection. You've been in court long enough to know you're gonna get objections. You said you didn't have great reception, but you did have reception, did you not?
No, there was reception there. It just wasn't great, and it wasn't great enough for people, in my opinion, to upload. You can make a phone call potentially.
That's crazy.
But you wasn't gonna upload data to a social media account. Now, could people take the steps to do it if they're dedicated enough? Yes. but it doesn't appear that that would have been a frequent thing, given the fact that you probably had 1 or 2 bars out there. And I heard evidence of that. Not only did I see evidence of it when I went out there myself personally with my cell phone, when I listened to the CTO call, you could tell that the call dropped out several times. It seemed.
But that doesn't matter. Okay, if we're talking, a reception does not matter, and neither does them uploading anything at all, because that doesn't defeat the purpose of as far as somebody uploading, or I'm sorry, taking a photo and it simply being instantly saved in their phone. That has nothing to do with, and again, his mother didn't specifically state what she was getting at as far as what was deleted. It seems like she was more so talking about the social media side of things that appeared to be deleted in Nolan's phone. But it still doesn't dismiss the fact that there was something deleted just because you don't have any service. That's not a good excuse to say, his phone was not deleted. There was nothing deleted in his phone. I mean, if that's the argument you're making, it's not a good one. I mean, why wouldn't somebody want to take pictures where they're at? And people take a lot of us do. We have so many personal pictures that we never upload in our phones. So it's not a good argument to make.
Like they were having trouble at times hearing each other. So it is consistent. And anybody that travel out there that have gone to the 4th of July celebration, they know that the reception is not very great. So the videos that they showed me in call logs were things that were not associated to social media, that they never posted on social media. It was, pictures and videos that they took on their phone.
Okay. Let me refine my question. I take it from your last answer that the answer is yes, you had reception on Horn Island.
Yes, I did have reception on Horn Island.
We just played that CETO call. It's 2 words, SEATOW, and it's kind of insurance that people have that are boat goers. And if you have a problem, CETO will come and tow you back to the mainland. They said they had a problem. They said they were taking on water. One of your takes is that all the chatter that we're hearing, wake up, Nolan, are you dead, Nolan, wake the F up, Nolan, could be referring to the battery, the bilge on the boat, that it's all unclear. Regarding the boat being disabled, apparently it was not. Listen.
So first, at 9:56 a.m., the boat leaves the original dock. It arrives at Horn Island at 11:14. So at around 4 o'clock, there is a call to the Coast Guard about the boat. NBC News got a hold of it.
We're sinking. Can you all please come?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
Everybody's on board. So does that mean Nolan is on there? Who was on that boat? At 4:31, the boat leaves Horn Island and it is towed approximately 3 miles, and then the tow ends. So after 3 miles, they go back to the original dock, okay? They arrive at 5:44 p.m. So it looks like this is where Horn Island is, and this is where the original dock is that I am referring to. I looked it up, and El Camino Real Road is in Gulf Hills, Mississippi, which is right above Ocean Springs. So I'm wondering if this is the house where they got the phone. Now, the boat travels to Fort Bayou. At 6:06, the boat returns to the original dock. Then, from the original dock, the boat goes back to Fort Bayou, and then they go to the boat launch, and it is put onto the trailer and moved by the vehicle. Did they drop people off at the original dock, travel to Fort Bayou, pick somebody up, and go back to that original dock? And
not only that, though, why doesn't the timeline end at the original dock? And what were they doing in Fort Bay And I don't even recall Warren saying what they did in Fort Bay, to be honest, or whether or not, Tatum even questioned what they did in Fort Bay. But I mean, once they got the boat going, what were they doing after that? I don't get it. I don't know why they went back out. Maybe they just weren't done partying. I have no idea. A lot of people make the argument also too, that Nolan was he was overly intoxicated. That still doesn't make up for somebody being responsible for leaving you behind on an island. No matter how intoxicated he was, I mean, that to me, that calls for somebody to be, more so looked after rather than left behind. I mean, that's why it's important to bring a designated driver so that that person can basically babysit you guys. I was a designated driver when I was younger. I still don't drink now. I'm not a big drinker. And when I was younger, I would definitely make sure all my friends get home safely, especially being the designated driver. I feel like, that's your task. But they didn't have one of those. They didn't have a designated driver. So unfortunately, they were, they had to get back on their own. And being that they're grown, I think certain things like that, especially drinking, not only underage, but under the influence as far as like driving, you face the consequences of taking that risk. And unfortunately, the consequences in this situation were huge. I mean, beyond me, that's for sure. It's your worst nightmare that you could possibly imagine. And that's losing a friend or losing anybody on a trip that you go with, to go have a good time. So, but I mean, I just don't understand what, I just would like to know why they traveled to Fort Bay. I don't know the answer to that. Haven't really heard why they did that. Don't know if anybody in chat knows, but I yet to hear why they went to Fort Bay. And really what made them keep going once the boat was, having issues. But it's an interesting timeline to kind of look at. And I've been questioning this since the beginning. I don't know why they went back. What was the reason that they went back after they got towed? I want to hear this timeline one more time here. Based on how she explains it here. Let's go back just one more time here.
Back to Fort Bayou, and then they go to the boat launch, and so it looks like this is where Horn Island is, and this is where the original dock is that I am referring to. I looked it up, and El Camino Real Road is in Gulf Hills, Mississippi, which is right above Ocean Springs. So I'm wondering if this is the house where they got the phone. Now, the boat travels to Fort Bayou. At 6:06, the boat returns to the original dock. Then, from the original dock, the boat goes back to Fort Bayou, and then they go to the boat launch, and it is put onto the trailer and moved by the vehicle. Did they drop people off at the original dock, travel to Fort Bayou, pick somebody up, and go back to that original dock? And then from there, why was there an hour and 13-minute time gap?
Anybody know anything about Fort Bayou? What's what goes down in Fort Bayou? I mean, is it a similar island where, people meet up and party at? Fort Bayou. I guess I got to do some research on Fort Bayou because I really don't know what the whole deal was about Fort Bayou. I'd like to know what area of the island they found his body. C. Shelley says. From what I heard, it was on Horn Island where they found Noah's body, face down. So I mean, there's that to me could possibly be telling enough to say, hey, you know what, he was, chances are he did stay on the island. Otherwise, at some point they couldn't have went back because the GPS says it all. I mean, they never went back to Horn Island. They left Horn Island and then never went back. They did go to Fort Bayou more than once. the area where he was found was notorious for rip currents and tides. Isn't that the north end? Much love, Missy. Thanks so much for the $50 super chat. She says, I feel it was a horrible accident and these children were scared and covered it up. Unfortunately, even being young, they still have to face the consequences. Indeed. I agree. And I want, like I said, I want to be able to believe that they are innocent. I mean, I hope and pray that, you know, what Tatum is standing on is exactly what this turns out to be. Nancy Grace had a very, very interesting video that she had played on her stream. Let me see if I can find it real quick here. I wanted to watch Nancy Grace anyways tonight because she just had a great show. But check this out. Tell me what you guys think about this video that she played here.
Bunny on TikTok have their interpretation of that. Watch this.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
What'd you say? Hey.
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
That from Randy and Bunny on TikTok. Joe Scott Morgan.
Let's play that one more time.
Can y'all
Of sinking.
Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
Help you?
Their interpretation of that. Watch this.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
What'd you say? Hey.
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
That from Randy and Bunny on TikTok.
I thought that was rather interesting because she takes a ruler, which it appears to me with her taking the ruler, I know nothing about boats, but I'm going to assume that boats have those on there for this specific reason. So you're able to measure whether or not water's too high or not into the boat. I mean, there's probably got to be somewhere on a boat where you can measure that to make sure, you know, things are rolling fine, I believe. Not only that, she sticks her foot in the area where I believe water travels in some part of the boat where, you know, you're able to see, you know, how high water is up somehow, some way. I guess, you know, I don't know, but I'm assuming that this kind of shows, you know, the length of where water's at as far as the boat, water coming into a boat. But again, I don't know exactly what this is for when you see these things in boats. But I mean, to me, just not even having the boat knowledge, the lack of knowledge that I have, I mean, it seems like that's what's taking place here. She's ideally able to see that by sticking her foot in a certain part of the boat that kind of explains how high water is into your boat for the most part. To answer somebody's question earlier, though, yes, Nolan's body was found on the northwest end of Horn Island. And a lot of people were saying, well, sources to me, from what I read, it was saying that that's where the part of the island that you don't want to be because of the currents getting up to 12. I think they said about 12 to 20 feet is how high those currents can get. So, and, you know, the parents and others that went out to search for Nolan the very next day were, you know, the search was cut short because of the current. So I'm assuming that area, you know, or Horn Island in general experiences that throughout certain times of the day, multiple times a week. So that could have very much been what happened to Nolan. However, you know, we can't point the finger at anybody until we get to the bottom of this. And I know people want to vouch for the boys because they're young and, you know, nobody wants to say anybody's guilty at all or you know, what really happened here with Nolan. But as far as the first results with the autopsy results, You know, I think the person who did that did a good job. And he, you know, he ruled it, you know, undetermined, because that's where it is right now until they, you know, really get to the bottom of it and figure out, you know, the certain things that they're examining right now, like the throat. And I mean, I think the back of that neck as well, because of the discoloration and the redness that was behind the head of Nolan, which Nancy talks about as well. But I just can't, I just can't say these boys are innocent. I can't do that. I can't just say that and take, you know, Tatum's word for it right now. It's too early, and we just don't have everything. We don't have everything yet. Until otherwise, it's in the air. Wayne says, witness, come forward and don't be a coward. You know what? I think tonight we take a poll on this, and you know, I just want to know from the people that are chiming in, you know, whether or not that they think that, you know, Nolan, you know, just whether or not this was an accident or you know, Nolan was actually murdered, because I feel like a majority of the folks think that this was a murder because of all the contradicting stories amongst the friends. And just everything that happened in this case that we've learned so far don't seem to add up. So, I mean, I think when you have questionable things like that, it makes it difficult to believe anybody's story. We appreciate the mods. Yeah, shout out to the mods, man. Much love to Giddy Up, Go Kimmy. Much love. And much love to Misty, by the way. I appreciate what you did earlier. I saw you on somebody's channel sticking up for the guys. You know, we won't say his name because it's not relevant or worth saying on this stream. But shouts to Misty. I saw that earlier. I'm always scavenging around on YouTube and seeing what's up news-wise, and I'll tend to run into some people I probably shouldn't even be wasting time checking out. So much love, Misty. You know what I'm talking about. Shouts Misty. Shouts Dopsy. Big welcomes, Dopsy. Good to see you in the chat. She says, not enough information released to make an accurate opinion. Indeed. I could not agree more. My camera is not clear. Not feeling it. Marissa says he died at 4:31. I don't think that's been determined yet. Just Made April says, I'm not going to call them killers until I have proof. I would hate to accuse and it turn out they're innocent. Right, because then you find yourself apologizing, right? You don't want to just point the finger until we know. There has to be witnesses. There has to be witnesses there, Juice. I'm not too sure what multi-chick was talking about. Marissa says we're going by the evidence. What information is coming out? Indeed. Indeed. Let me go ahead and let's chime in a little bit more of this Nancy Grace video. Mainly when she's interacted with Tatum. I just don't think he has great excuses for these boys as far as, you know, proving their innocence. I feel like some of these things that he's saying, he ends up contradicting himself with some of these things that he's addressing.
And from what was told to me, that they all passed. And all of the ones that took a polygraph took one without a lawyer. And so, and they cooperated with law enforcement. So from my understanding, everybody took a polygraph test. Why do you say that's from what you
understand? Did they tell you they took a poly and passed?
They yes, ma'am. They told me that they did it. I wasn't there. So
see, but you can't do that though. That's what I'm saying. You can't do that. You're just taking their word for it and saying, you know, it's true. And look at his face. I mean, come on, Tatum. You know better than this. You can't just say, oh, well, yeah, they said that they did this. So, yeah, I think that they're telling the truth. So that's what, it doesn't work that way.
That's what I'm saying from my understanding. From what was told to me, that they all passed. And all of the ones.
And good luck. Back to Officer Tatum, star of The Officer Tatum on YouTube. Have the friends taken polygraphs?
Well, from my understanding, all but I believe one took a polygraph, and from what was told to me, that they all passed. And all of the ones that took a polygraph took one without a lawyer, and they cooperated with law enforcement. So, from my understanding, everybody took a
Why do you say
polygraph
that's
test
from
but
what
one.
you understand? Did they tell you they took a poly and passed?
They yes, ma'am. They told me that they did it. I wasn't there, so that's what I'm saying. From my understanding, they told me that all the boys except one, which is Warren, I believe, took a polygraph test. All of them did not have lawyers and did it and cooperated with police. Warren also cooperated with police. I just believe he didn't take a lot to take the test, but Warren is the young man that I interviewed. So according to what they told me, they all took a lot of tech tests and passed. And it's an equivalent of a lot of tech test. It's not a traditional lot of tech test, but it's the same theology of trying to get to if a person is lying. I don't know the name of it. It's an equivalent of a lot of tech tests. It's a different methodology.
Come on, Tatum.
Yeah, I don't believe it was a polygraph test. I believe they took other stressors in order to analyze if the people were telling the truth or not.
Did they take a polygraph would be no.
Well, yeah, I think it could be semantics because they took a test to analyze whether or not they were being truthful in their statements, and that certified test, they passed it. It just wasn't considered a traditional polygraph. I think it's a more advanced way of doing it.
Brandon Tatum. Hold on. In a nutshell, Joe Scott, there is a difference between a polygraph, which measures all sorts of body signals, your sweat, your breathing, your heart, your blood pressure, all sorts of things, and an audio verification test. Big difference.
Yeah. So the audio is, you're looking for stressors in the voice, and these people are highly trained that do this. And I'm, look, you know how the courts feel about these tests. Are they admissible or not? But I think that.
So real quick, let's just be honest here. We all know, based off our own experiences and the things that we see in life in general. But I mean, if you've covered cases, you don't even have to cover cases. If you're familiar with polygraphs, you know that polygraphs they're beatable for sure. And, there's a way to beat them. And I don't know if that's easy, but we know that they're beatable, and not everybody believes in polys. I guess I'm not a firm believer when it comes to polys, but the answer to that question, as far as friends taking a polygraph, from what I heard, at least one of Nolan's friends took a polygraph. According to Ashley Cole, the mother of one of the boys on the trip, she's also a Jackson County judge, publicly stated that her son was interviewed and took a polygraph test. As far as who confirmed it, that was Ashley Cole. But she issued a public statement denying that her family, hindered the investigation. In the same statement that she said her son was interviewed by investigators, her son took a polygraph. So I don't know. I don't even know if this is true or not. And if she did, then why not just show the proof? Otherwise, they're probably just saving it for evidence, I guess. I don't know other the reason why she would be keeping that from the public if that's actually true. But there's really no verified reporting that the entire group took polygraphs. Only one friend is confirmed through a parent's public statement that there was a polygraph taken. So I don't know what Tatum's talking about. I haven't heard all of the friends taking a polygraph. He's saying they all did except for one, but I've yet to hear that yet.
Going to Brandon's point, the fact that they have taken these, at least those named allegedly have taken these, according to him, I think that that's significant. Now, whether or not that this is going to be usable, a usable investigative tool is hard to measure.
I didn't ask you if it's going to be used in court. That's a whole nother animal. We'll burn that bridge when we get there. Okay, there may never even be a court case.
Exactly.
First, I got to find out what happened to Nolan. Okay, so let's not put the cart before the horse. You've got eye detections tests. I don't put any stock in that as to whether somebody's lying. You've got nonverbal communication experts claiming they can tell. You've got brainwave analysis. You've got all sorts of things. I want a poly. I'm not saying they did anything or they didn't do anything. Go, strap up, take me a Polly. Officer Tatum, star of The Officer Tatum on YouTube. I've been told, but I can't verify, that the boat in question has been searched by scent dogs and cadaver dogs. Is that true?
I'm not familiar if that's true. Let me just clarify. The test that they took was a voice stress analysis test instead of what we call a traditional polygraph test. But I'm not familiar with the cadaver dog searching the boat. I wasn't informed that that was the case. But I was told by the boys that they did not wash the boat off or do any of those things that they were accused of doing, after this incident.
So we talked about this in the beginning as far as the cadaver dogs, and from what we read initially, I don't know if they finally used the cadaver dogs or not. However, it did state that the cadaver dogs could contaminate the scene. So this is why they refused to use those cadaver dogs. From what I've learned, Crump was the one who they initially thought was denying the cadaver dogs, saying that he didn't want them, but I think he was actually pushing for them to try to gain some more evidence from that boat.
And I say, based on all the things that I've heard, it appears that they've been very truthful with me. And law enforcement. They've already communicated with law enforcement very early on.
Okay, Officer Tatum, coming from you, I do give that credence because you were a Tucson PD. I've had people sit down, look me right in the face and lie, and they are so convincing. So I don't know who's telling the truth. I don't know what happened, and that's why I really resent people suggesting the investigation be shut down. We're not doing that until we know what happened. Officer Tatum interviewed multiple of the young men on that boat. Now, let me address what's happened in the last hours. The family is not buying what they are saying, that nothing was deleted. They're not saying they're lying. They're not saying they're telling the truth. They have hit social media giants with subpoenas once and for all to get everything there is to get about Nolan Wells Digital. Okay, straight out to Dr. Jim Jones.
And just real quick, so Crump's team repeatedly demanded the boat be re-examined after they had already examined the boat for the most part. So Crump had said the boat should have been seized, processed, searched with cadaver dogs, and examined for blood tissues or transferred evidence. None of that happened. It states that the boat was returned to the friend's home, not impounded. After Nolan's body was found, his father went to retrieve Nolan's keys from the boat. The boat was already back at the house where the boys stayed the night before the trip. This indicates the boat was not held as evidence. No cadaver dog search was conducted. So news explicitly states that investigators did not perform a cadaver dog search on the boat. This is part of the family's public, criticism of the investigators, thoroughness. I mean, they want this to be done. Nonetheless, it seems like it really hasn't been done. Why it matters is because, the no scent based confirmation of whether or not Nolan was ever on the boat after 3 p.m., the ability to detect the decomposition scent transfer, and then the forensic baseline to compare against, witness statements. And that's one of the most criticized gaps, that Crump has really pushed for. And I don't know if it's too late. I mean, because it seems like, they went to Fort, Bayou or whatever the heck it's called. They went there twice. And I don't understand why they went there twice. I'm still trying to figure that out. Why did they go there? The boat was supposed to be messed up. Apparently they got it going. And maybe it was back to party it for all we know.
Joining us out of Virginia, Dr. Jones, cybersecurity digital forensics expert, digital forensics program director, associate professor, George Mason University. Okay, can't argue with that. Okay, Dr. Jones, what will the evidence reveal? Let's just start on Nolan Wills's cell phone. Let's start with Snapchat.
Sure. So on his cell phone, any images taken for whatever app are going to be stored locally, at least temporarily. So Snap is one of those apps that deletes the picture afterwards. The key here is that when digital files are deleted, the data does not immediately go away. So the data is left intact at least for fractions of a second, sometimes hours, days, weeks. So what they'll find, assuming that they have access to the unencrypted data on the phone, is they will find bits and pieces of old text messages, videos, pictures taken, and that might reveal something that they can timestamp to the event in question, yet the picture is not still in the active files. That would suggest a deletion.
Okay, hold on just a moment. Let me see, Jones. Dr. Jones, I'm just a trial lawyer. I need you to explain carefully what you just said. Let me ask you some pointed questions. Snap is different, very different. Hold on, doctor. Let me go to Tanya Jordan, Chief Parent Officer at Bark Parental Controls, author of Parenting in a Tech World. Snap is a whole nother can of worms. The other night, example, my son and I, John David, we both love Kung Fu. We're watching the ultimate Ip Man, and I fell asleep. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. I woke up and I looked at him. He was furiously on his phone, and of course that raises a red flag. Why is your son on the phone at 2 a.m.? I said, son, what are you doing? And he said, I'm responding to a snap. I'm like, let me see, who's snapping you at 2 o'clock in the morning? It's some freaky dude in his underwear on the other side of the world. He went, gross, number one. And he said, they disappear. Okay, Snap, what is it?
Snap is an app that was developed to send disappearing nudes many, many years ago. So it's wild, and today now flock to that app, and parents allow it. Myself included. I regret letting my son have that app. So now fast forward to today, children think that this media disappears because that's the user interface presented to them. But the media does not disappear. Children sitting on either side of them can take a picture with their phone, and that data lives on Snap servers because, as we know, law enforcement has had a heck of a time subpoenaing them and getting access to it.
Okay, that's gibberish. So, does a snap disappear?
A snap appears to disappear to a user. So if I send a snap, and let's say, Nancy, you send me a snap. When I open it up, it disappears from my view. But that media, that photo, that video that you sent me, it is still alive in Snap's ownership.
Okay.
Right, which means obviously they're going to be able to pull that from the digital evidence. However, because I'm a Snap user, let me go ahead and clarify on that just a little bit. So, I mean, it all depends on how you have it set up. Because on Snapchat, you can send photos and make those photos stay. They don't all have to be disappearing photos. They don't all show up, as something you could view only one time. Also, most of the photos that you receive on Snap, you're able to view them twice. So you view them once, especially if that's how the person that's the sender has it set up. You can send them that photo or video, and they could replay it. So you get one chance to replay it, and then it disappears. But you can still send photos, depending on how you have it set up or how you want to send that photo, for it to just simply stay in your friends or whoever is sending the snap or photo or video to you, to stay there, as if somebody was texting you from their phone and sending a video or photo. So that's pretty much how Snap, works for the most part. A lot of times when somebody does send a photo, though, it does disappear. But again, it's all how you set it up or how you want to send it. But that's pretty much how Snapchat works. Not only that, if you could take a photo on Snap and send it to somebody, if you don't save it, it's gone. But you can't take multiple photos and videos on Snapchat and, I don't think they would stay in the phone unless they're saved. But once you post it on a story, I think that's some form of saving it, even though you're not saving it internally to the phone. I think they'll still be able to pull that through digital evidence. So let's say that Nolan had several snaps that day of them being on the island, which I would argue that he probably didn't take any snaps or do any uploads, because there would have been there's so many people that I think, well, from what I've heard, that are speaking out, that someone would have been able to say, hey, look, Nolan posted this day. Not only that, it wasn't within 24 hours from the time, that, he went missing, up until the time that they went looking for Nolan. So, I would only think if he would have posted that night or that day that they went out to the island, his mother would have been able to say, hey, yeah, he posted on social media that night. Unfortunately, it sounds like he didn't. Otherwise, I think that would have been stated. But she does say that, some of his stuff seems like it appeared to be deleted. And again, she doesn't specifically say what specifically, what may have been deleted. She does point in the direction of social media. As far as anything else, it doesn't really say. But the missing persons report at 11 p.m., as far as the missing person report, at 11 p.m., one friend contacted authorities to report Nolan missing. And in midnight, Nolan's mother called the police department after learning he never returned home. The thing is for me about this is, if you're going to leave your friend behind, why didn't they make sure that he had his phone? If he was going to end up getting a ride home, and I get it, they're drunk, so anybody could vouch for them in a sense of saying, you know what, Juice, they were drunk, so no one's going to think about any of that. You're more likely to not be able to consciously think like you do on a regular when you're under the influence of alcohol. I get it. But I'm still gonna question why didn't they just leave him with his phone, not only his phone but his keys as well, being that he's going to be left behind, and no one really has any idea how he's going to get home. He's just supposed to be staying back with this girl named Katie. Doesn't even sound like it was even confirmed for sure through Katie, like, hey, yeah, it's all right, he can ride with me, I'll make sure he gets home. None of that. So if Katie, ends up going bad and it turns out he can't get a ride with Katie, who did Warren and these other friends think that he was going to be able to catch a ride with? Now, he did make the point that, he's caught rides from multiple different people to get back home. Warren made that argument, saying that he not only has he been there multiple times, but he's been able to catch rides with, he's rode back with several different people on many different occasions going out to that island. So I'm assuming because he made that statement that he's obviously saying that the same thing would apply for Nolan. Even if he didn't get a ride back with Katie, he could have easily caught a ride back with somebody else, which I could agree, I guess, because there were so many people out there.
So what that means to me as a trial lawyer is I can subpoena it and I can see it.
Yes.
Okay, that made perfect sense. Now I get it. So my son is telling the truth that it disappeared.
Yes.
To him.
To him.
But not to Snap. Okay, all right. What about WhatsApp? That doesn't disappear.
Correct. WhatsApp does not disappear, but WhatsApp is also purported to be encrypted. So Meta moved in a very big disappointment to anybody who cares about child safety to make WhatsApp end-to-end encrypted. So good luck to law enforcement trying to get anything that happened on that app.
To Dr. Jim Jones, digital forensics expert, associate professor, George Mason University, program director, on and on. Dr. Jones, I, like Nolan's mother, find it very unusual that Nolan, for a period of hours, there's nothing. He is a prolific snapper, Insta, you name it, there's nothing there. I got a problem, number one, of him separating himself from the phone. But no teen does that. Nobody does that. But if he's out in the water, he may leave it on the boat so it doesn't get damaged. But I find it hard to believe that he left the boat, leave with it and his keys, and that he wasn't taking pictures and on the boat, on the way out there. Where's all that? That's human behavior, which is not your forte. But Dr. Jones, explain to me what these subpoenas mean. Dr. Jones, from what we're learning in the last 24 hours, Nolan's family demands all IP addresses associated with his accounts, all communications, chats, posts, stories. You can explain later to Tanya what is a story, and all other information. The phone is critical because there's nothing on it for the critical hours. Subpoenas issued in the last hours to Snapchat, WhatsApp, TikTok, Meta, all Meta platforms, and all location tracking platforms, including Life 360. Okay, doctor, what does it mean?
So what they're trying to do is find everything that was pushed up to the servers. And as Tatiana pointed out, some of this content is encrypted as it goes through the servers. So they won't be able to see the content on the server, but they'll have a record that an image or a video or a message came through. So what I would be looking at is I would compare what the providers, the servers show to what's on the phone. And if I find a discrepancy, that would suggest that something has been deleted from the phone. Anybody that had access to the phone could easily delete something on the phone, much harder to delete what's being held on the servers from the phone.
I assume his phone had a password. There are certain things that you need the password to do, such as delete activity. But
so let's talk about that real quick here. What are the likelihoods of somebody not having a password on their phone nowadays in 2026? What's the likelihood? I mean, how many times, like 9 times out of 10, when you come across a friend or just somebody you don't know, so let's just say you find a phone, what's the likelihood of you, picking up a phone and there's not a password on it? It's not common, right? I mean, it's chances are 9 times out of 10, if you pick up a phone or you use somebody's phone, they got to put in a password or, there's just some type of password on a phone. So, and that's the thing for me. There's just certain things in this case that make it very difficult to look past certain things. So let's just say it is true and it turns out that there were some things deleted in Nolan's phone. How in the heck did they get the password? Who would have had the password? And, why isn't a friend speaking out in that sense? Like if anybody had a password, it would probably, I would know. Like if it's my friend, I would know. Whether we're best friends or not, I would say, hey, well, Jonathan is more so likely to have his password. I mean, these guys were, they were really close. They were a lot closer than we were. And they just have that type of relationship. You're just going to know certain things about your friend that, would put other people in question. But, and that's one thing you got to love about this city is these guys really, at least we know if something really went down amongst all these friends, that they really got each other's back. I mean, these kids really got each other's back. And I think it's, a good part about them having lawyers too is probably the lawyers are probably, not only telling them to not talk about their case, but to not share things about one another either, because it could potentially hurt the other person. But I mean, it seems like these boys care about each other enough, not to throw each other under the bus. And I think Tristan came out, one of the boys that Tatum was interviewing was saying that he's like, this city, for the most part, I mean, they really look out for each other in that city. And, he followed up with the fact that, that city is not racist whatsoever. People really look out for one another, no matter your color. And I mean, I see it. I mean, the fact that no one's really telling on each other, although the stories are contradicting, they're not really necessarily saying, so-and-so didn't say this or this is not true. Neither one of them are trying to clear the air amongst each other, as far as, what this or that person says. So, and that's what makes this even more challenging too. But I don't know, man. What a good case, man. What a unique case so far. But after everything's all said and done, guys, we might not even have a case. And I won't be surprised. I will not be surprised. But, you know, it could turn out this was an accident. I want to do a poll real quick. We'll continue this video for a second here. I'll chop up a poll real quick. I just want to see what the folks think about, you know, Nolan, in regards to the fact that, you know, whether or not this could have been an accident or, you know, did he actually get murdered?
If you don't have a password and you pick up your phone, if you're touching the screen, that leaves a trace. If you're trying to power it off, that leaves a trace. So we should be able to see people without a password trying to actively interact with that phone, as well as someone that has it. So we would do a forensic acquisition, and that's really important here. Someone just looking in the phone, you can get a glimpse, but you can't see what's deleted and hiding below the surface. We need a forensic acquisition to do that. We can tell if it was just soft deleted, so like sitting in a trash can, or a hard delete. So if you empty your trash on your phone and then you go and throw it into a dumpster and the trash is taken away, there is a log that tracks everything. Also with timestamps on when that activity occurred.
Digital expert Heather Barnhart. Okay, is a subpoena Dr. Jones, Dr. Jim Jones, is a subpoena the equivalent of an acquisition, a forensics digital acquisition?
Yeah, good question. No, very different. So the subpoena is going to the providers, the companies that provide these services, and it says, hey, what is on your servers? The physical acquisition is going to get a copy of the raw data stored on the phone. And to Heather's point, what you see through the interface is only a small fraction of what's actually stored on the device. It's a very busy place and things are being replaced and removed all the time. The physical acquisition will take a snapshot in time of anything that's left, in particular, the fragments. She also made a very good point about the logs. Phones, modern smartphones, keep very detailed logs. It's not the picture, but it will tell you that someone deleted a picture, and you may even have a timestamp or other metadata that would help you know something about that content, even if you can't see the content anymore.
So, Dr. Jim Jones, if I delete something, let's just pretend it's a text. We delete a text. Then you go to the deleted file and delete it from the deleted file. We can't see it, but there is a record of that, and it is very likely revivable.
Yes, to the record, for sure. There's a record of that action happening. Revivability depends on how long it's been since it was deleted and what else the phone has been doing. So it's a very unpredictable process. Think of it as something that decays over time. Sometimes that decay is very rapid, sometimes it's slow.
And we know there's a difference in retrieval time on an iPhone versus an Android. It's a very delicate process. John Mobley, veteran trial lawyer, South Carolina. What is it Nolan's mother wants from social media giants?
Everything. That's what they want. And I've been saying this from the beginning. These are the types of things they should have been doing from the beginning. Not press conferences, not grandstanding, not the all show no go, but getting the actual data from the phone so they can get real answers to put all the information regarding what happened in context. They will know if anything was posted, if anything was deleted, if it was communicating with someone. This is the real work that needs to be done. This is how we all get answers.
Hi,
yeah, you know it sounds like they need to get this evidence rather sooner than later. The longer they wait, the may difficult it may be to retrieve certain things that may have been deleted in Nolan's phone. But I think regardless, I mean, they're going to get a hold of Snapchat. They're going to be able to get a hold of Instagram, and the digital evidence is going to do its work. They're going to be able to get to the bottom of this. The two main things in this case right now for me is the digital evidence and then the autopsy. Those two will be the nail in the coffin to the deciding factor of this case, determining whether or not Nolan was murdered or not. Now, as far as who did it, I mean, it could have been somebody on that island. You know, it may have not been Nolan's friends that were involved. It could have very much so been somebody on that island. Wow. So we did a poll. We only had 30 people vote, which is totally fine with me. We only got, 302 people tuning in right now. Nolan, I did a poll that says, was Nolan Wells murdered? 67% say no. 65 right now. 33% are saying yes. Interesting. And obviously I could have added, I don't know. That would have probably changed things. But I really want to know what the people think. And really mainly what direction everybody's leading in based on what you think. And it's all theory. It's all speculation. You know, we don't know for sure. But based on the information that we have in front of us today, you know, what do you really think? You know, what sticks out to you the most? You know, based on the information that we've gotten, you know, is it make it questionable whether or not he's murdered or not? Of course, because nothing proves he wasn't. Right now, based on the information, if you ask me, that we've got, you know, with the contradicted stories, with the demeanor and the way that call was handled, you know, once, you know, when that friend reached out, the timeline, those are three things that stand out to me that make it questionable for me. Of course, I can't wrap my finger around what really happened as of yet. But as of right now, I'm leaning in the direction of the chance that, you know, Nolan really actually did, you know, more so possibly get murdered. It's very difficult for me to say or, you know, be leaning more in the direction of the fact that he didn't. It's too hard for me to go in that direction right now. Only simply because I haven't really seen any evidence amongst the friends, and I just can't take their word for it, nor can I take Tatum's word for it. I know he's really sticking up for these boys. But there's just not enough to say. Not enough. Man, it's changing a little bit, though. 39% saying yes now. That they think Nolan could have possibly been murdered. You know what? I'm going to change that. I think maybe if we do add, I don't know, that might even out the percentage a little bit more based on everybody's thoughts, but I can't call it, y'all. Cannot call it yet. Now, you know, guys, I've noticed a lot of people saying, you know, he was, you know, highly intoxicated. You know, was he on drugs? You know, is he, you know, did he maybe overdose? You know, if he overdosed, let's say he did, fell out, hit his head, that's all possible. But I mean, when you hear that call, we must need to listen to this dispatch call again. When you hear that call, I mean, it just changes everything. Because if it's true, which it sounds like it is, then that means Nolan was on that boat. Or, you know, and it doesn't just sound like they're calling for Nolan to get on the boat. I got to be honest. It does not sound like that at all. It doesn't simply sound like they're like trying to plead with him to get on the boat.
Horn and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come?
Vicky speak.
Call.
Detail assistance. Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the work coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
Hey.
Is the...
Mind you, like, I don't know if at this point when he asked her what she says, like if the phone's going mute, let's go back and see if it mutes and we don't hear anybody talking in the background.
Sir, can you give me a description? Ankles?
No, so I still hear people talking in the background. I don't hear him interacting with anybody in the background trying to figure anything else out. But I still hear the people in the background that appear to be talking talking.
Hello, description. All right, of course. How far is the work coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles. How far is the work coming up, sir?
Tell them we have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the work coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. It sounds more like there's a big chance that Nolan could have OD'd, and he's saying like, "Wake up," because if it was an altercation, it very much so happened before this call took place. Let's play it again.
Coming up.
Please come. We have
How can I help you?
Resources call.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you? Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can
Now you can't say you don't hear somebody call it Nolan, and I can't say I hear clearly sure he's dead, but I do hear is he dead? And then following that, I hear somebody say Nolan. When I first heard the call, when I heard him saying, well, according to the subtitles here, it's saying that he's saying, wake the F up. But to me, it sounds like he's saying, shut the F up. But after listening to the enhanced version, it kind of makes it a little bit more clear on what they're all saying from the time that we hear them talking in the background leading up to the dispatcher finally saying her name. And mind you, she's the one who, called the police. She's the one who ended up getting them. I mean, she's the one who called them. She's the one who made the call. And I think that could change things as well if we hear some type of statement from this lady who answered this call. Some people are saying it's AI, not the call itself, as far as what we're hearing said in the background, but the lady who's speaking that says it's Vicky. I think this is a real live person. And it is, because she ends up speaking to I can't remember the guy's name, but she ends up speaking to a gentleman that, comes out, the actual tow people that come out and tow the boats. And remember, he says that they're not towing people that are not members. But later on, they find out that these guys are actually members. And remember, in the beginning of the call, he stated that they were members. Well, he was quite sure that they were. He was still, wondering if they were or not at the same time. But he was pretty confident that, his grandfather had a membership. So that way they can get, tows and whatnot in situations like these, whatever. Let me find this video. Let me pull up the actual footage, because Nancy doesn't have the whole thing up. And this is the actual call. It's not the beginning of the call before Vicky actually says anything. It's from the moment that he says, "Hey, we're at West Tip Horn, and our bells pump stopped working. We're sinking." I want to point out a few things that he says here.
We're at the west tip of Horn, and hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking.
This morning, more audio of the frantic call from the boat. No.
Let me find the call here.
Over the past,
I just need just the audio here.
How can I help you? Hello, sir.
Okay, this one has music in the background. We don't want that. We want the actual straight up audio.
Forward in good health otherwise? Yeah. This is Vicky speaking. How can I help you? Speaking. How can I help you?
Why is it playing the music? Why is there music before the actual call on this one here? Because I hear people talking. That's so weird.
working. We're going.
How far is the water coming?
What'd you
Hello?
say?
How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
I just wonder what took him so long to answer that question. I get it. Everybody's gonna say, "Oh, he had a lot going on at the time." I mean, if Nolan was on that boat, he was dying. I would say that was a whole lot going on at that time. But if the boat is sinking, I mean, it's not as crazy as someone dying. You know what I mean?
Ankles?
What'd you say? Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
So I don't like the way he answered this question, and yes, I gotta critique him a bit. And I pointed this out yesterday. So when she asked him about where the water is coming up to, I don't like the way he responded. Listen again how he responds.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
So he says it's coming up. I don't know. We're just sinking. How hard is it to look down and give a rough estimate of where that water is? How hard is it to think in your mind and say, you know what? Hey, I think it's coming up to about our ankles. She's even giving him things to consider, giving him ideas of, what he could possibly say, where that water could possibly be. And it's still not helpful to give him, or for him to give her some rough estimate of where that water is coming up.
All right. Well, let's get you going. Membership number or phone number listed on that count, sir.
And not only that, I don't even look past the fact that this could just simply be an alibi. Why also isn't Cito able to somewhat confirm that their boat was actually sinking? Why isn't Cito coming out and saying, hey, look, it did look like their boat was sinking? I mean, a statement from Cito could be critical. That could be critical. And for all we know, I mean, investigators are going to keep this tight. They could have already given their statement.
I don't know. Like we're going down now.
Is the water coming up, sir?
What'd
Hello?
you say? Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
All right. Well, let's get you going. Membership number or phone number listed on that count, sir.
I don't know the phone number. It's either. I think it's. Try that.
All right.
I know we have a membership like guaranteed. I don't have the tag
Unless
on
you
here.
have a membership number or anything, it's okay. I'll get you over to the captain. What's the best phone number to reach you at?
Reach me at 2.
All right. And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's
How
on
many?
board.
All right. Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
What?
Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
No, we do not need that.
All right. All right. Do you have your current GPS coordinates?
Let me go look.
If not, I can send you a text message.
North. All right, are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm available.
North 3 degrees. 5. 4672.
All right.
So real quick, not only, so here's where it even gets more twisty. They already reached out to Cito prior to speaking to Vicky here. That's talking to them from the Cito dispatch call. What happened on that call? Why haven't they released that call? So essentially, Cito has given a statement, but this is their statement that they've given as of right now. And I bet you, if this leads in the direction of Nolan being murdered, they are going to be subpoenaed to court, and they're going to have to give their statement, based on their thoughts and, what led them to even make the call to reach out to, the police department. But I would like to hear that there has to be, nobody's really thinking about this, but he clearly states, and you'll hear it in a minute, he clearly stated that he already spoke to the grandfather. So there is 2 dispatch calls. We haven't heard the other one. There has to be 2, because he's clearly says that he's spoken to the grandfather. And I don't know what these boys told the grandfather. For all we know, he could have met them in Fort Bayou because they were scared and something went wrong. But what was the holdup at that point from the moment that they already contacted Cito? Why wasn't this person, Vicky here, able to tell them, hey, we see that you put in an order for somebody to come out. Your grandfather already verified that you guys are members. We got somebody en route. It's going to be X amount of time. So we already know in situations like these, people are put in for, in some type, people are put in on some type of cue that's should be easily addressed, when a caller calls. Not a lot of times, 9 out of 10, that phone number is linked to whatever history, that was made on that specific account, especially if it's under the grandfather's name and he's the one who reached out initially before the boys even made this call. But there's technically 2 dispatch calls because he said he already spoke to the grandfather.
4672. All right, and you were breaking up a little bit. Can you just repeat it one more time to make sure I have it correct?
Sorry, look.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, what?
So you're breaking up. If you need assistance, do you have a VHF radio?
No, we do not have a VHF radio.
All right, well, let's try to get you going because you don't have good cell phone reception. Can you verify your coordinates one more time?
Okay, my coordinates are 30 degrees by 14.684 north, and then west by 88 degrees by 46.79.
Right, it looks like you're on Horn Island, correct? Are you
yes,
on
we are
Horn
at Horn
Island?
Island. Yes.
All right, is the boat sinking or you have it aground?
We are sinking, yes.
Is it aground is the question?
No, we're not aground. We are in
17
foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water.
All right, have to ask. What do you want to do? Do you want to be towed back?
I want to get this boat unsank and towed back, yes.
All right, where would you like it towed to, sir?
You can tow it to Ocean Springs Harbor, or Fort Bayou launch.
All right, how many adults and children on board?
No, there's no children.
So, is there anybody on board? How many adults, sir? That was the question. Hello, can you hear me?
Gotta jump in and pull the plug while you're going.
So he does state on this call that he wants that boat towed to Fort Bayou. For whatever reason, I don't know. And, maybe that's where, that's where they, left off from, even though it's not in the timeline. I think the main dock might have just been the meeting point where majority of the friends met up, and then they went out to Horn Island from there, which is what the timeline says. So I'm assuming, Fort Bayou is, the place where the actual driver of this boat goes home. Because after they get there, that's when the boat is, put on whatever it's put on so they could take it home or whatever. So it has to be, it has to be the driver of the boat's, starting point, which is not really put in the timeline. The main dock is, which is where they all left from.
Sir?
Hello.
Yep, I just need you to answer these questions so I can get you over to the captain.
Okay.
How many
what's
adults
going
on board?
What's up? There are 0 adults on board.
There's nobody on board the boat?
No. Nobody
right.
here is over the age of 21.
Sir, that was not the question. Is there a person? Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
She got frustrated with him very quick.
Hello?
Is there a living person, someone breathing on the boat? Is there anybody on the boat?
Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
All right, how many people, sir?
Like 7.
All right, thank you. Does everyone have life jackets on or available to them?
Yes, we have life jackets available.
All right, verify what boat's sinking.
A Triton, 22-foot offshore, 22-foot Triton offshore sea flight hull.
All right. All right. Please hold. I'm transferring you to the local captain now.
Okay, thank you.
This is Captain Seth.
Hi, Captain Seth. This is Vicky from International. How you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, good. I apologize ahead of time. I really do. You're going to have a fee-for-service come up under...
Okay.
It sounds like a bunch of kids on board on Horn Island. He's letting me know that his father's a member, but he can't give me any information. And he's saying the boat is sinking, and he's on Horn Island. It's just unfortunate. He's just a kid. There's a lot going on. So
Right.
he said there's about a lot of people on board. He says he thinks about 7. I'm guessing they're all under 18.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be rude. He wants you guys to go out there and unpump the boat and then tow it in.
Do you know what kind of boat it is?
He said a Triton 24-footer, but that's all he can give me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just actually got off the phone with his grandpa, who I'm guessing is the owner of the boat. And he said,
okay.
I just hung up with him. He said that they don't need any help right now, but if something changes, he'll call me back. So I'm guessing that they may have figured it out, because that's what he said.
So
They're in a panic.
Here's the twist. Here's the twist. He's calling the dispatcher saying that they're panicking right there, right then and there in that very moment. Prior to that, he spoke with the grandfather, and the grandfather said that they're perfectly fine, that they're good, they don't need a tow. Why would he say that they don't need a tow? Why would he say that if right there in that very moment, in the middle of, just seconds, minutes after that call of just speaking to the boy, he's sitting there panicking, supposedly saying that he needs a tow. Can you just come, please? Just come right now. How does that apply to the situation if prior to that they spoke with the grandfather and he stated that they were fine, that they didn't need a tow? How does a person in the middle of the situation say they need a tow, come quick? But the person that's not even present there, which has a membership with CETO, which is the grandfather, says they don't. Make sense of that, please, because I can't make any sense of that at all. That makes no sense at all. Maybe it does, and I'm missing something. But to me, I'm going to red flag that one. I'm definitely going to red flag that one, because that's not adding up to me. That doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't he tell the dispatcher the same thing? If his grandfather is saying that they're fine, they don't need a tow, why isn't he on the phone with his grandfather? Remember, the kid on the line says that he's, at some point, I guess, clicks over and speaks to him, or just prior to that call, he had just spoken to his grandfather as well. So they're all communicating amongst one another. The only people that seem to be a bit confused is the dispatchers, who are taking this call, besides the captain, because he's the one letting the dispatcher, Vicky, know that they're good. They don't need a tow. So that leads me to believe that this panic front, it seems like, that he's putting on is really in reality all under control. So then that leads me to ask the question, what's really going on here? What's really happening?
Yeah, they're in a panic. He's saying the bilge is not keeping up. I asked for Coast Guard. He said no, but he's just really upset on the back end. And, I get it. It's a kid. He just doesn't understand.
Oh, okay. Do you still have him on the line?
Yes, I still have him on the line. And, again, I couldn't find he couldn't give me anything regarding his grandfather's, membership, so it's just under fee for service.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just talked to, if you want to, we're so tied up right now. We can't really do any non-member jobs right now.
Is he a member? Did you find out if he was a member or not?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's his boat or what. I'm not sure what's going on with it. But yeah, transfer the kid over. I'll talk to him, and then I'll call his grandpa back as well.
All right. And did you want me to look up membership number or anything like that to see if he's up? I know you guys are
You
swamped.
can try this cell phone number.
Yes, sir.
Anything on this phone number?
All right. Yep. Yeah, he's an active member. Hold on.
What kind of boat do you have on there? Same boat?
Yeah, he's one of your members. Yep, 22-foot Triton. All right. I'll just disregard this one. I'm going to send you over an accurate one under this one, okay? He's one of your members. You'll get in a couple minutes, okay?
Okay, perfect. All right. And, yeah, just transfer this kid over whenever you get a chance.
All right, transfer him now. Thank you again, Captain.
All righty.
Stay safe out there. It's crazy. Have a drink.
Oh, it's wild. All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hello? Hello? Are you there? I apologize. I will be disconnecting due to lack of response.
And see, I'm assuming at this point he's probably going to argue that at some point they lost signal. But I'm gonna just share my opinion on that. I think he hung up. I think at the end of this call he ended up hanging up because he was on the other line for quite some time, I guess. And why not? Why she didn't conference the call and just bring it all into one call, make it one call. I don't know, because if somebody's out there at risk of, sinking in water, the last thing you want to do is lose, contact with them and make them wait on hold. But I mean, it goes how it goes, right? But I mean, she should have checked initially if they were members or not. But I mean, she was trying to figure out what was really going on, trying to get him to answer probably the normal procedure questions that they have when CTOs in certain situations. When it comes to certain calls. So, but that is really, really weird, guys. That is really weird. There's no reason at all that his grandfather should have been saying that they're fine. Perhaps, there's a lady on the line and he's speaking to them, telling them that they're going down. That says everything to me. At least it says that he's already spoken to his grandfather, or he's reached out to somebody, and they've reached out to his grandfather. But it sounds like to me he already spoke to his grandfather, and whatever he told his grandfather, we don't know what he told his grandfather. But apparently they don't need a tow. According to what he told his grandfather, they don't need a tow. Maybe he knew that they were going to figure it out. I'm just trying to think on the positive side for them. Maybe he knew that they were going to get this thing plugged up so that way they didn't, continue sinking, and it was just a small problem. It's something common for that specific boat. That boat always does that. They just forgot to do something before they left. and it was an easy fix, and they were able to go on about their way. But they still got towed 3 miles. And then they went and traveled to a few other areas before actually returning. I don't know. I mean, apparently it was a small fix, and it could have just been fixed in the first place. But they had to go all the way back to, they had to go to Fort Bayou to, get that fixed. And I'm assuming that's probably what could have happened on a positive note is they went to Fort Bayou to get the boat fixed. Maybe that's where his grandfather was at, and they just needed to get the boat towed there. And then somehow they got it fixed, and it was a quick fix. I don't know anything about Bell's pumps or, anything about boats, so I couldn't tell you how long that would take when that, particular situation takes place on a boat. Couldn't tell you. I don't know. Maybe it's a 5-minute fix. Lori Mint says they were told by someone else. That's what I thought I read prior, but I mean, didn't it say that they were told by the sea tow company? No, they were. You're right. They were told by somebody else. And why that is, who knows? But again, it goes back to me talking about where they were at. They were on Horn Island. If I'm surrounded by hundreds, thousands of people, why would I even need to reach out for them to come and help me? If I'm surrounded by so many other people who could help me, not just with a tow, but they could help me with the Bell's pump. And likely there's somebody around that has the part to fix it, or they have something, if it even needed a part, there's somebody around that could possibly fix that. So they're able to get home safely. But again, I don't know anything about boats. I couldn't tell you what it takes to fix that thing. And I don't know exactly literally what, really caused them, to start sinking. I just know it was something called the bells that caused them to sink that wasn't, holding in water and letting water flow through correctly or something like that. Other than that, I really don't know much about it. But before sea tow arrived, the boat's owner canceled the assistance request, saying they had found other help. And thanks for that comment in the chat, because I totally forgot about that. But they did receive a tow from somebody else. That's insane. And remember, at one point, the caller asked if, they'd like somebody to come out for help for the most part. And the dude pretty much says, no, like, please no. He didn't want them to come out for whatever reason. He didn't even want them to come. So why are you even calling them? Why are you even calling them? That is crazy to me. But again, so many questions. There's just so many questions that we know it's just going to take time to get answered. I wonder what the turnaround time is on that digital evidence, because that's really going to really get this case moving if it turns out to be going in the direction that it sounds like. What a case. What a case so far. The dispatcher didn't seem to take the caller seriously. I don't think so either. And that's what I was pointing out the other day, the way she was talking to the caller. And then not only that, I mean, she took the time to listen to this caller before she even mentioned her name and the company's name. I truly think, like I said, if they gave a statement, this might, it could really change things, because she really listened to what was going on in that background before she even said, hey, this is Vicky speaking. She really sat there and literally listened to what was going on, like being nosy, trying to figure out what was going on, as she probably should have. And it just sounded like hysterical in the background when this guy reached out and called. So, I mean, would you sit there and wait for a minute if you seen somebody was, just to kind of maybe try to figure out what's going on? And who knows if there's more to this call. I mean, she could have probably just answered the call and said Cito or whatever company their name is, and he continued to do whatever he had going on in the background. And she waited a few moments, and then that's when she said, "Hey, this is Vicky speaking." Who knows prior to that, whether or not, because I'm sure she answered the phone. They're reaching out to her. I don't know if they're, if she's calling them. It sounds like they reached out to her. So, if she's the one who was reached out to and she answered that phone, I'm sure she answered it by saying, "Hello," or "This is so-and-so, how can I help you?" And then whatever was going on. And she just sat there. She listened to it for a little while. That's what it sounds like happened to me, at least. Wow, this is crazy. So we did a poll, and it's changed a lot since we did it. We ended up getting about 101 people to do the poll, 102 now. And it was just a pretty straightforward question. It says, was Nolan Wells murdered? 49 people have said no. I'm sorry, 51% have said no. 49 have said yes. So it's kind of like half and half. Some people think he was, some people think he wasn't. Interesting. Very interesting. All right, so I think that pretty much wraps it up for me for the most part. I want to open up the phone lines here and take some calls, of course, before I get off for the night here. It's currently, 2 a.m. for me, so we got a little time to take some calls here. Let's open up these phone lines here. I got to get StreamYards, guys. I think it's time we get some StreamYards and add that to the channel. I think that might be not only good for the channel, but it works out better for some people. I think people really enjoy StreamYards. Let's take some phone calls here. Lola says, I don't know, but I think he was voted yes. So confused. Tea Time, good to see you. Thanks for the $2 super chat, by the way. Tea Time. Get Up Go says, please put a smackdown on the like and subscribe button. We appreciate it so much. And the best part, it is free. Indeed. That's the best part about it, Kimmy. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that a lot. Much love to you, Kimmy. We'll open up these phone lines for a bit here before I call it a night here. Let me get the phone line up. I thought I had it up here, so I'm not going to hear anything yet. Hold on, guys. Let me make sure it's on here. I thought it was up. That's probably why I didn't. No, I would have known if anybody called either way, because it would have rang on my phone anyway. Hold on, guys. I thought I had it up. It's not like anybody's going to call anyway. Nah, we might have a few callers. Joking. I'm joking. I think we do have somebody calling. But you might have to give me a second. I'm trying to get the phone line pulled up, and it's not working for me. Well, you know what I'll do is I'll end up calling this person back. Hang up to the caller, call in, and call back. I'll make sure I answer your call. I'll wait for your call. Otherwise, give me a second and I'll just call you back. Okay, here we go here. It's the Juice.
Hi, Juice. It's your favorite girl from Michigan. How have you been?
I've been all right. How you doing?
I'm doing really good. So I totally love listening to you talk all the time. I'm not sure if you like to listen to white women, because some of them do get annoying, but there's a woman called Crime Lines and Lies, and she's hilarious, and she does the same thing you do.
Nice. No, stop it though. You know, I don't, it doesn't matter for me. I ain't listen to everybody. Probably most of the people I
Oh,
listen to
she's
are probably white.
hilarious. She'll get on there and she'll give them nicknames like the 16, because I don't know if you do like child abduction. She does a lot of that, a lot of real sad cases. But so she's doing the 16 case in Ohio, and she calls the guy Fireball. So, you know, and she makes it fun, and she makes fun of the sis or the brother. So she tries to do kind of what you guys do too, but adds a little twist to it.
What's her name?
It's Crime Lies and or Crime Lines and Lies.
Oh, I like that name. Okay.
She's really professional. She's an older woman. She's a grandma, but you wouldn't know it. She's beautiful. I mean, you know, just you meet some really cool souls in the world, and she's one of them.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna check that out. I like that name. It's already
Yeah,
catchy,
you're one of
catchy
my
already.
favorite souls too. So, but I just wanted to talk to you about Nolan, and you know, I didn't hear you talk much about like the conversation that was in the middle of that phone call, and you know, I was asked when I was younger to go do 911 calls, and I never ended up doing it. I'm a recovering addict, and now at 42 years old, I'm gonna go get a career. So wish me good luck, because I feel old and tired.
Will do. You don't sound like it. Sound young.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you. I'm trying to have a good high hope spirit right now.
Yeah, no, you sound young.
But what was I going to say about the phone call? When I had first heard the phone call, this was before there was information out about what was said before that. And I just remember, because I'm a newfound Christian, and so I have a lot of conversations with the Lord. And I had just explained to him, I said, I don't understand why this kid, if his boat is sinking, why does he sound like he's interested in something in the background? And then I explained to the Lord, you know, because I came from a mom that she's kind of like the stepmother from Cinderella. And so, you know, everything was about her, and everything, you know, had to be her way, and you were always in trouble if you didn't follow it. And I would have just thought if it was my parents' boat out there and it was actually sinking, I would be telling the people in the background to shut the fuck up so I could understand what they were saying. And he had no interest into that conversation.
Yeah, you would have thought it would have been him, the one who was saying, you know, but it was somebody else. It sounded like, and it didn't sound like they were saying that. It sounded like they were saying something else. I mean, it just wasn't that. But you know, initially I thought that that's what they were saying was shut the F up. But he was saying, well, I mean, it sounded like he was saying something else. I don't want to say exactly because
I
I'm
agree
not
with
sure.
that. I will say, because I can do it both ways, because honestly, I know there's something being said, but I'm not exactly being said. But I know that there's people out there in this world that do this for a living, and they swear up and down it says, Nolan, wake the fuck up. And then someone that works in that field found someone that says, damn it, Bar, or something about a guy named Bar. And it's just crazy that a guy named Bart's boat showed up at the same time.
Yeah, it doesn't really, and it's why would a boat be showing up anyways, though? I mean, because they're on an island with several people.
Well, I believe because, you know, I'm kind of a very, very, very like bullheaded person. It takes a lot for me to, you know, submit to following the rules. And so a lot of cases, I only watch certain cases. Only certain cases have ever made it big for me. And, you know, now there's stuff coming out about his mom, and you know, I prayed for his mom, and but I'm sure she's not innocent either, because we all live in a world full of sin, and we're all sinners.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I mean, he could have been calling for, you know, I mean, his grandpa could have, or grandfather could have already called somebody to go out there and tell him. But I mean, if they're waiting for somebody, why would he be reaching out to Cito, you know, that's
There's
just what's
only
weird to me.
two ways that this happened, and I'm not an investigator. I am planning on going to school to be an investigator now that I'm older and I've lived that life. I'm a massage therapist, love my job, but my real true passion is crime. My dad said that I would be the best investigator in the world because I don't know how to shut up.
Oh,
So, yeah, so let's go make my dad's dream come true. He passed on when I was a small child, and I would like to see him in heaven, smiling down. So, but what was I going to say? The only two things that I think happened in this situation is, one, he was too intoxicated. Maybe a blood bursted in the back of his head. He maybe hit the back of the boat. And then something erupted. The kids freaked out. Didn't think that they were going to get in trouble. I mean, I as a young child would have squealed on the kids that I hung out with, and I live in the hood, and I told them, I said, I will squeal on you. Don't do it while I'm here. And, I always was not afraid to stand up for what was right. But there are people out there that don't know how to do that, and you get scared, and you just want it to go away, and it doesn't go away. And so maybe he died drinking, and instead of calling the police and saying, okay, listen, we were all drinking, this is what happened, instead they didn't do that. They just put him in the water. Oh, he'll just wake up and everything's going to be okay. You got to think like a teenager that's drunk. You know what I'm saying? When you're a teenager, think about
Night,
nowadays,
Misty.
you
Much
think
love.
about
Thanks so
money,
much for tuning
food,
in,
and
Misty.
women and shelter. I mean, their mind doesn't go past that. They don't dream big anymore. People is ready for the world to end. And so, it's a very sad environment. I remember, I don't know how old you are. You look like you're about my age, but I remember when we dreamed and we had hopes and we had dreams and we would talk to our friends about that. They don't talk about that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
And so, I think something happened, and I think that there was a bunch of scared kids on this boat, and instead of, being an appropriate one and going, okay, this is what we're going to do. We need to call 911. We're all probably going to get in trouble, but, this is for Nolan. But instead, I think what happened is they said, okay, well, you know what? Nolan said, and I don't want to go to jail because I'm doing this and that's something else, and I'm a selfish person, and threw him in the water. Or he's got a 12 by 12 big blue and black mark on the back of his head. Now, I am not a psychic. They don't even exist. I don't know where people think that you're a psychic at. The only person in this world is a psychic, and that's the Lord. And he can give people visions and stuff like that, but he's not going to tell you everything that happens. And so when I first seen the first conversation, I seen them dump over a body. And then people found the conversation about the background talk. So, and I prayed about that. If you pray to the Lord, the Lord will tell you things. And so then my next conversation was, well, how did he die? And when I first seen the incident or heard the incident, I seen almost like a baseball bat to the back of the head. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't figure out what would be on a boat to hit someone that hard in the back of the head.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, it's hard to say because it's only, we only really got like the redness in the back that doesn't really show much as far as, being able to physically see if somebody was hit. I mean, unless you saw a picture, I didn't. I really can't say.
I don't think that there's a picture that I haven't seen, but like I said, my dad, want to hear a cool story about my father. My father was so cool. And he had came down the stairs and he had told me, my dad lost all the color in his face. And he said, there's a man out here eating people. There's a man out here killing them and eating them. Well, my dad was a religious person. So instead of trying to figure it out himself, he prayed to the Lord. And then a week or two later, not Ted Bundy, but the Jeff guy that was in St. Louis, he was caught. So the power of prayer, and I'm not going to get on your thing preach to you, but if you want to find out what happened in the room, maybe just ask God. He might maybe let you figure out the case and need the $122,000. Sounds like you got a baby. So
that would be great.
But anyways, but what I've been through this, you know, and I could have been a doctor, and I don't want to get into myself, but what I think happened is if you look at how the guy said, he said he went over the full body, right? He said that he did his arms, his legs, his neck, his fingers, his buttocks. He checked every area, and every area looked decent. So, and he also talked about how you have scars in your body and how they look different compared to the coloration on the back of his head. So the only thing I could think of now, I am not a medical person. I haven't even started medical school yet, but think about when you get a bruise. When you hit it, there's a breakage in the blood cells, right? Or in the skin, right? Because that's what makes the bruise. Well, that's almost like a bruise affection. So how did he get a bruise on the back of his head that bleeded? So think about it. If you're sitting in a position and someone hits you in the back of the head, you're going to go forward and then you're going to go backwards, right? So it's going to settle in the back of your head. Pardon?
Yeah, that could be a way it happens. Yeah.
So then you go back on the back of your head. So let's say this is what happened. Let's just theoretically say these boys were out for Nolan, hit him in the back of his head. He goes forward, falls back on the boat. Now, what is confusing to me and how none of the police officers did anything about this, and that's why I think it is an inside job. It is Mississippi. It's 1954 was the last lynching. I live in Michigan. The last one here was in 1855. So we really have moved on from the white supremacy stuff, and not everybody else has. So, so you have, and then there's a girl on the boat, but he was hanging out with a girl named Katie.
Yep.
There is no information on his son's phone. Her son's phone, but the son's phone has not been used. It was not put onto the water till 11:30, and they woke up, I think he said at 8:33 to go get breakfast, but didn't invite Nolan. So does anybody else notice that was quite weird that he made sure, like that Wyatt kid said in his interview, we stayed at my buddy's house. Me and my buddy woke up and went and got breakfast. Didn't talk about Nolan, but Nolan was there, remember? And then he said there was 4 of us on one boat, 8 of us on another, and 16 on one other one. That's a little odd. Why would you only put 4 on a big old boat that couldn't carry 15 people? Then when they first came out, I don't remember if you remember them saying it, they said we had too many people on our boat, and that's why it started sinking, so we got it towed. Now all of a sudden there was only 6 people on their boat. They don't know how much water's in their boat. Then in the background you hear things about a guy named Nolan and a guy named Bart.
Not only that, sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead. No, I'm just saying, not only that, if you're on an island and there's too many people on a boat, why wouldn't people just hop off and stand on the island for the moment? You know, there wouldn't really be much, it's not too much panic to happen if you can just hop off the boat and stand on an island.
That didn't even cross my mind. Just like another person said, if your boat is sinking, why would you get it towed? So it can tow and sink into the water? I don't go boating, so the things that these references, like that Wyatt guy, and this is what the Lord said to me. Oh, he's just trying to look fancy. He's trying to look like a boat person so he can lose you in what they're talking about, or the person that they're trying to talk to. They're trying to look smart because something happened to that kid. And, I'm not going to say that they red rummed them, but there's something funny about this story, and you guys are the last ones to see him.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
Yeah, I agree. And why would somebody
So you got a
why would
lot
somebody
of
stand
explaining
on a
to do.
boat and let it sink? Just sit there and let it sink. And, I don't know. This story is just crazy. And in case,
And if you listen to that conversation, you will hear them say, "Oh, drop it over the water." I bet you if they send a cop out there in that water, I bet you would find something that belonged to that boat or to Nolan. I guarantee you. They said it right on there. I'll throw it over.
yeah, I remember that part.
So what makes you think that they didn't he have a backpack? I was thinking, I'm morbid. I'm morbid. I've lived in the hood. I've seen things that a lot of people have never seen in their life. So I was thinking to myself, maybe he had like a backpack or a towel or something like that, and they put it to the bottom of his foot, and maybe that came off because in the Riley Strain case, he lost his pants during the initial, the initial find. So Riley Strain is a case where a guy was in Tennessee. He left the Luke Bryant bar, went walking down about 3.5 miles, and was found in a river. He was wasted. His fraternity brothers left him. They believe that he was roofied by his college friends, because now there's this, it's almost kind of like the Nolan Wells case. They have evidence of these boys coming into the hotel acting crazy, talking about him, saying really odd things in the middle of the night after he was missing. Like, I think that was I don't think that they meant to kill him. I think they were trying to bully him, and he died because they were after the same girl. Just like Bart says that he don't know that Katie girl, but they swear that Bart and that Katie girl know each other. And there's 3 dudes or 4 dudes and a girl's voice on this boat, but nobody knows who this girl is. Nobody's asked questions like, who's this girl? Where'd she come from? Is this Katie? Because that's what I would have been asking. Where'd this girl come from? There's no girl on this boat. Where did this girl come from? There's no. Oh, she went back with her. She went back with her family. Remember, so pretty much what they're saying is it's so right. So what their friends and what this girl is saying is both of them just happened to leave at the same exact time and left Nolan there. But there's a girl on the boat. See, children don't think farther than a child. I mean, you don't even grow up until you're almost 30 years old. I'm 42 years old and now finally feel like I'm an adult. I'm sure you're not as old as I am, but you're older. Like, look at her. She's a pretty girl. People would want to be with her. And you're not going to tell me, and I don't care what anybody says, I don't care who this is, I don't know who you're trying to stick up for, but every dude I have ever met, black, white, Puerto Rican, Chinese, purple, green, the Lord has always asked about their friends. Oh, well, you got any friends? You got any friends? You're hot. You got any friends? And that Wyatt kid doesn't talk about girls at all.
Not that I remember.
Didn't talk about, I was hanging out with my homegirl. Oh, I didn't say nothing. Oh, I don't watch Nolan. Why would I watch Nolan? Oh, nobody asked you if you watched Nolan. We just asked you if you've seen where he went. And in that interview, he got all snobby and acted like he was Nolan's babysitter, like how Abel did to Cain, or Cain did to Abel. Oh, I'm not my brother's keeper, when he damn murdered him.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, no, Kristen, you're just a little crazy. You're too mean. You're too this. What if this really comes out and these boys murdered this kid? And I'm not the crazy one. You guys are the crazy ones for not to believe that you live in a world of chaos and shelter and perverted people.
Yeah, no matter the way, in any whatever direction this case goes, I won't be surprised. I mean, whether it's turns out to be an accident or it's intentional, I won't be surprised either way. I mean, because it could go either way, but I'm leaning in the direction more so that he was murdered. But I could very much so be wrong.
I agree, and I'm so sorry to take over your channel. I'm lovesick because I think about this mom, and whether she's adding on to the racist or whether she is actually having issues with these people. That's really none of our concern. And all she's trying to do is look for love. I mean, a year ago, her son was off at college. He was, being a good kid. And, like I said, we're all not the best, but we try to be. And she's never going to see her son have children. She's never going to see her son fall in love. She's never going to see the things that you and I both will get to see and not even be thankful for it.
Yeah, that's
no
true.
offense, but I'm not a very thankful person. I'm not saying that you are, but sometimes I forget how thankful I am. And, like his dad said, I don't get to argue with my son ever again. And I know that's not something that you look forward to, but that is something that maybe he looks forward to. And I'm sorry, but there ain't enough money in the world that will ever bring back my child.
Yeah, I mean.
And, and I get the whole civil rights thing. And, I love Black people. I live in an all-Black community. Don't get me wrong. They get on my nerves sometimes. Sometimes I say the word now because my father's not here. But when I was a small child, when I was about 5 years old, and I think I've told you this before, my dad beat the hell out of me and told me that you never speak those words again in this house because it's disrespectful. And over the years, I've lived a lot of gangbang in life, and I've heard it my whole life. And so they'd be like, oh, don't add an ER to it and you'll be fine. But even still to this day, it hurts my feelings because I know where it started.
Yeah, I grew up in a pretty rough neighborhood myself, so. What?
And, and maybe it's not a civil rights thing. Maybe it's a gay thing, and I'm not trying to make these masculine men or masculine young 20-year-old men feel uncomfortable. You do come from the generation that does wear dresses and want to cut their dicks off. And sorry, this is YouTube, wanting to get their privates rearranged and watching porn that is not appropriate. You know what I mean? I didn't come from that generation. Guys my age, even if they were homosexuals, they dress like men.
Yeah, I mean, they're out there. They're everywhere.
Correct.
Well, I don't want to take too much more of your time, and I appreciate you chiming in and calling in and sharing your
I hope
thoughts.
you have a really blessed day. Please bless me to have a good day, man. I have been having some of the worst 2 days of my life.
Oh, I will indeed, and I'll definitely say a prayer for you as well.
I appreciate it. I will for you too. You keep that little baby happy. I heard that it's up in the morning. It's really early. I would be so upset. I'd be like, go back to bed.
I sleep through it. My girlfriend usually does it all when it comes to him waking
Oh, well,
up. So.
you know what? You better go buy her a thing of flowers and make her a dinner and just love on her right now. Remember, it's Love Week, so.
All right, I will.
All right, you have a good day.
All right, much love.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Very interesting call. She was filled with a lot of energy. Shouts to her chiming in and calling in and sharing her thoughts, of course. I always enjoy it when the viewers call in and, express their thoughts revolving around the case and share related other things that, that happen in other cases. But It's just a very interesting case, guys. It's very it's just I mean it's really difficult. It's a shifty case. It's like I said, it's just not enough info out there to really say, these guys are responsible for what happened to Nolan. I just wish that we could get that autopsy report tonight, right now, tomorrow. But even if they do get the actual autopsy report from the toxicologist, I don't think that they're going to share any of those details with us. I think we won't probably hear any of that information. If this goes to trial and it turns out to be, a murder, but also, I think we'll know in another sense, because even if they don't share it with us, let's just say they get the results back and, they don't tell us exactly what the results say. I think they're going to at least tell us, hey, we got the reports, and then we'll know based on how the case moves forward. So if this is actually going to go before a grand jury, then obviously we know there's something up with the autopsy, because it has to be murder for us to even get in a courtroom and this actually be a case. Otherwise, it won't be. But I just can't see what would have happened that was accidental besides Nolan ODing. And these kids are smart. They know exactly, what they're doing. Not saying they did anything, but in a sense of knowing that if somebody ODs, so we know this is not a case. So, at least amongst myself, based on my own opinion, I feel like I could debunk the fact that it's, Nolan that overdosed on a drug. So I don't even know why we're questioning it, because that in an autopsy, if somebody dies right in front of you and for sure that it's drugs, that autopsy report is going to come back. That's exactly what happened. That's something common that's always determined of death. I mean, somebody always die. I mean, there's so many people out there always dying over, drug overdoses. I don't think I've seen too many autopsies reports where they come back and they say, this person's death, I don't even know how to put it in words, but I haven't seen any yet where, it was a drug OD, but they weren't able to confirm that through an autopsy report. I think a lot of times they're able to figure that out, and anybody smart enough to know that most of the time they're able to figure that out, that, there would be no need for these guys to try to cover anything up if that were the case. If this was an OD, only in that sense. But if they were fighting and then something happened on accident, then obviously they have a reason to be scared and not come out and tell the truth. But let's say, they were just joking around and, Warren fell back and hit his head on something and he didn't wake up. That's a little bit more difficult. But I would have enough confidence that my friends around me could vouch for me and say, yeah, he fell, he hit his head, and that's exactly what happened to him. I don't know why people, or the friends wouldn't be confident in that regard. And not only that, I would have reported it right away if something like that happened. Like, let me call them, let them know, hey, this kid bumped his head. My friend bumped his head, and he's not waking up. Those are calls we've heard before, Those are scenarios that we've heard before. I mean, so to me, it only leads me to believe something happened here. Something a little bit more than just horsing around and a mistake happened here. Something a little bit more than, somebody just simply overdosing on drugs happened here. It wasn't those. Especially due to the fact that an autopsy can bring that up. That's out. I'm not thinking about drugs. I'm not thinking about alcohol. That's easy to determine for people who do autopsies report. reports. My chat is like barely catching up. Tea Time says yes, just the fighting or it's an accidental death might be the what was frightened them from telling the truth. Yes, call right away would have been able to understand. Yeah, I mean, what was the panic? You know, what led them to say, you know what, dang, let's not even say anything? Were they so drunk they did something stupid and threw him into the water, thinking that, you know, I don't know, like, you know, did they do that, you know, and then get him out of the water? You know, and they realized he was already knocked out because of something that happened, like joking and playing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's so many different scenarios that could have happened, but the one that sounds more logical to me is something happening and nobody coming out and telling the truth. I think that's what's really happening here. I don't really think somebody was on a boat horsing around, fell back and hit their head on something and didn't wake up. I mean, it just doesn't sound logical. And it doesn't sound like it would be something that would provoke me to want to cover it up, you know. But who knows? And for all we know, they could have been on some drugs that make them make really bad decisions, you know, not just drunk. So I can't call it, but this is insane. And I just hope this family, you know, gets the justice that they deserve. It's unfortunate that they were, you know, having to bury their own child, their son, who seemed like he was very successful in football. And I just truly hope that Tatum is right, that these boys are innocent. And I just hope that, you know, we don't have to even look for anybody that's responsible for his death. Hopefully it is accidental. And it's, you know, either way, I don't want, you know, I don't wish death upon anybody, and I don't hope anything for anybody as far as them dying. But I hope no one's at fault for this. I hope that he really went out and had a good time with real friends that he could trust and would not betray him. I really hope so. And I hope nothing happened to him. Perhaps they really did leave him behind. He did stay back on the island, and some random stranger did something real bad to Nolan. I truly hope that that's not what happened. You know, I also think there's a chance that he could have been stressed out. He decided to stay back on the island himself. He didn't know when to necessarily leave. He walked off in the wrong direction, which was, you know, people believe to be on the northern end of the actual island. Supposedly this island has a very an end that people don't want to be on, that, you know, brings high currents. Although what's crazy is when you look at that picture of all the boats on this island, there's no area you don't see boats in. There's none. So I don't know what time a high current would have occurred around, you know, I don't know what hours that the, you know, currencies come in. I'm guessing in all hours, but there's got to be a main hour in the evening at some point that, and I'm assuming late into the night, that you probably shouldn't be, you know, on Horn Island at. It's got to be some specific time you just can't be out there during certain times of the week, because they had to cut the search early. So, I mean, maybe Nolan stayed there too long. I don't know. But I mean, they reported him missing around 11 p.m. at, that very night. So did anybody even bother to go out there the night that he was reported missing? Or, you know, how long did they wait before they went back out to that island? We just know they went back at some point and they were able to retrieve his body 2 days later. But whatever happened to Nolan, it happened either somewhere real close to that island or on that island. I think it happened on that island because he was found on the island that they were at. That's the only thing for me that makes me feel like, you know what, this you know, this might just be one of those situations where they actually did leave their friend behind. Like, that's what makes their story believable to me, is the fact that his body was found on Horn Island. Not only that, it's found on the worst end of the island that you could possibly think of. And yeah, I mean, there's no other way that he wasn't, you know, not on that island. But as far as being left behind by friends, I don't know. GPS doesn't say they went back out there at any different time. So if anything happened on the boat, according to the GPS, if it's accurate, they never went back out there to take his, you know, his remains out there, if that were the case. But let's go back to the timeline, because there is an hour and something in about 13 minutes. It's roughly about 4 miles out, 7 miles, 4 or 5, 7 miles out from the main dock that they left. So I'm going to rough that. I don't know on a boat how fast they usually travel at. I'll rough it maybe about an hour to get to Horn Island from the main dock, maybe 2 at the most. So, you know, was there enough time for them to interchange boats? You know, there could have been that, and that could make it difficult to follow, you know, or GPS the boat, because that means that they could have taken Nolan out there that night had he did leave with the boys. It's just something to think about. What did they do at Fort Bayou? Is it Bayou or something like that? I can't remember the name. I can hardly say the name. Gemini says the moment they realized they had his phone, why not go back out there and then give it to him? Right. I mean, the boat sounds like it was up and running. I mean, why not? Why not let his parents know, hey, look, we have Nolan's phone. He didn't want to come back. There's no way we could really call him. Why wasn't there any call on Katie's phone? You know, perhaps these boys knew this girl. Why weren't they able to somehow reach out to a friend of a friend to get a hold of Katie if they didn't have her number directly? Or not even directly, if they didn't have her phone number, period. You know, considering these guys are probably fairly popular guys that play football, I'm pretty sure they knew somebody that could get in contact with Katie if Nolan really stayed behind with her. But you're having a good time, you know, you're outside, you're having fun. You're not really looking forward to, you know, checking on your friends and looking after your friends. I mean, you do, but I think sometimes a certain amount of time has to go by before, you know, you really get concerned about somebody. You know, it doesn't really happen in minutes. So, I mean, I don't know. Just left him out there stranded, and they kept saying he was my best friend. That I don't like, man, because he can't be best friends with everybody. I mean, you could have multiple best friends, but we want to know the truth. Out of respect for Nolan, we want to know the truth. You know, who was really his friend? Like, who was the closest? Just say it. Shouts Connie, thanks so much for the 5 gifteds, by the way. Oh, you didn't give me time to answer. Just when I was going to answer. If you're officially a member of the channel, do not forget to thank Connie. She's always showing love and support, gifting me memberships here. Big shouts, Connie. I'm sorry, I saw that kind of late, too. If that person doesn't call back in a minute, I'll call him back. Not familiar with the number. Did you see my message? No, I don't think so. Let me take a look here. You emailed it, or? I don't know what your number starts with. All right, we'll call this number back. I don't know if they know, but I was trying to answer that call, but it was just too soon that they hung up. Angie, good to see you. Hope all is well. Angie. Let me find Angie's. Hey, it looks like you're able to raise a couple more dollars, Angie. I see you. All right, we'll call this person back here. Chime in, guys, while I'm still here. I won't be on too much longer here. Just wanted to take a few calls before I get off here. But chime in. I got the phone number here on the screen if you'd like to call in and share your thoughts about the Nolan case.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hi, how you
Good
doing?
morning. I'm doing good. I just had like a couple of comments. First,
Yeah.
I don't really believe it's race. It's all about transparency
Yes.
and truth. And I also believe that there is a cover up, and I believe that it started from the call that went, whoever placed that call. But I was listening to another, I was watching another YouTuber, and she had the actual police call recorded. Well, she had actual, I think she got it from Struth. I forget where she had got it from. But anyway, at a certain time, I think it was like around 11 something, there was a call placed to the sheriff department. And then and the people, did you hear about that one where they were dispatched to the judge's house?
No, I didn't hear about
So they
that.
went to the judge's house. Yeah, they went to the judge's house, and there's another YouTuber, and she has the actual audio of like I guess it was kind of like a police scanner or something. But yeah, they went to. It's strange. Something is going on. I believe it starts right there as far as this cover up. And as far as Nolan, they're saying that Nolan was drunk. I mean, he was heavily drinking. All the kids were drinking. And I don't believe he was a drug user because he had too much to lose. So those are my comments. And but if you can search, look around. There's I don't want to say I don't know if I'm allowed to say who the streamer was. I mean the YouTuber was, but she has it on there. Okay, let me tell you her name. Just 1 second.
And it's the 911 call? I didn't even think about the 911 call.
Yeah, it's a call, yeah. And let me see. Tell you her name. Daphne. It's DAPH.
It's the Daphne Case Files?
Yes, her. So look at her. Check out her. She has like a short video, and then she has a longer one on there. But it's something strange about that to me because they go straight to the judges. I mean, whoever is telling them to stop whatever they're doing and go straight to the judge's house. So Yeah, I think it's a cover up, and I think that I agree with you. I believe he was murdered, but I don't think it was, maybe like based on race or or anything like that. I don't know what it, why they did it, but I do believe it was done. He was murdered, and that's all I wanted to say. Put my little 2 cents in there.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I didn't even. Thanks for bringing that to my attention too. I didn't think about the 911 call, but I wonder who made that 911 call at 11. I mean, because it says it was reported at 11 o'clock at night, so he was reported missing at 11 o'clock.
It was 11:54. I can send you, if you have an email, I can email you the screenshot, and then you can, but you can probably go to her page and see it yourself and listen yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to the dispatch. I haven't heard that one. That's crazy.
And then there's also another YouTuber. I think her name is Queen something. She has the actual from the, I guess not the Coast Guard, but the other people, whoever they were. But she has a transcript from that too as well. And so Gaffine, I guess that's how you pronounce her name, she had both of those together. Because I had sent her some information. But it's something weird. Something going on. It's a cover-up. That's all I can say. It's a cover-up.
Yeah,
so
that's what it sounds
he
like.
was murdered, and I think it's a shame. I really do. And for people to think that Black people shouldn't feel a certain way, we do because of the history, especially in Mississippi.
Yeah.
And then there was a person, I think I saw some type of comment where they said that the mother wasn't crying. People grieve differently. And, she's trying to be strong, and to make sure that her son gets justice that he deserves. So I don't like the little comments when they're saying that, talking about the mother, because she's going through things.
Yeah,
but
she is.
That's all I want to say. So if you can check that out, look into that, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I see a dispatch call. I don't see a 911 call, but I see a dispatch
well,
call.
that is it. Just listen to that. Maybe it's not 911. Just listen to it. You have to listen to the whole thing.
Okay, I'm gonna check
and
that
then
out
listen.
right now.
So she has a short, and then she has tonight she put on a little longer version about it too. And then she read some other things where she's talking about the time and the date, the 2 dates. So,
okay. I will check that out. That's interesting. Thanks for telling me that too. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts with me as well.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
All right, what's up? Nice caller. Great caller. I didn't even hear. I didn't even think about the 911 call, guys. I'd love to see who called the 911 or who reported Nolan actually missing. I don't know if that's been stated, but I guess I could look that up. But if there is a call, I'd love to hear it. So I think she's talking about a dispatch. I think Daphne was able to pull up the dispatch of, I guess, one of the calls that went out for the dispatchers that were out and about looking for Nolan. So let's play it. Let's see what it says here.
We're out to the judge's house now. You said y'all are en route to the judge's house or from the judge's house? En route to the judge's house.
So for whatever reason, it looks like the police are going to Warren's house.
Appreciate it.
32, finish up with whatever you got and get down here.
So they're referring to the judge because that's his mom, his stepmom.
Currently dealing with a potential missing person.
Do you have all the information from this 1050?
10-4?
I'm 1024, 10-8. Give me a J2.
10-4.
Negative. We're en route to the judge's house now. You said
Anyway,
y'all are en route to.
It was restarting there. So anyway, there's that. Not too much. Nothing really crazy. But it looks like they were headed over to the judge's house at one point in time. Now, she was saying something about a 911 call. However, I don't think we've got any of that. But she was saying to watch another video with Daphne. Shout out Daphne Case Files. If you guys haven't checked out her channel, go check it out. Her channel's awesome. She's always bringing some. She's always digging up something. She's great at what she does. That's for sure. Daphne Case Files.
This case, there is now a lawsuit. So one of Nolan's buddies, his parents have now retained an attorney because of so many issues going on. And I have the first-hand knowledge of that. And I'm going to show you here against you. This is not about defamation against the Edmondsons. That you are young, naive, or lack the resources to pay for a civil judgment will not deter us from filing a lawsuit against you. This is not about money for my clients. They want to protect their family and they want to curb people who lie recklessly. So it goes on to say, if you make up something out of thin air or to share something you don't know to be true, adding the word allegedly or saying,
Hey, much love,
people are
Domsey. Thanks so much for
reporting will
plugging in tonight, Domsey. Have a great night.
not save you from a defamation lawsuit. We will address the falsehoods being presented, basically all the information that has come out online that are false, they are saying. But now is not the time for that. Now is the time to make it very clear that we intend to be unrelenting against people who are lying online for clicks and likes. The Edmondsons and the broader Ocean Springs community grieve for the loss of Nolan Wells. They want the truth and peace for Nolan's family. Please, people making things up online that put others at risk are not honoring Nolan's life or loss. They are not bringing us closer to the truth, but pulling us away. He goes on to say, this will be a large, potentially nationwide task if you are an attorney who believes that the rule of law, the presumption of innocence, and our very commitment to the truth is in jeopardy and want us to do something about it, please reach out to me privately. So there's a very thin line between defamation and freedom of speech. Now, I do know for a fact if somebody is putting out
Indeed.
Information such as this person, per se, they pick out somebody and they say this person absolutely did this crime, or now I don't know about the sharing it. Okay. I don't know about sharing something. I don't know the law there, but I do know if they come out and say that this person did this intentionally, knowing that it's false. And then if it hurts the other person, such as they lost their job, or for instance, in Bart's case, since he's in with football, if they kicked him off the team for this, stuff like that. Okay. You lose a job. You have, it's something that hurts your life. And obviously the death threats are no bueno, no good. Okay. So that is how like a defamation lawsuit works in the case with the freedom of speech type thing. So there's a thin line there. And I think first they would probably have to send a cease and desist letter out to the people, but I'm not sure. I'm not an attorney, but I'm just going off of what I know. Okay, now let's get into this dispatch audio, you guys. I listen to dispatch. I have Broadcastify, and I do this with all of my cases, okay? And I came upon something on July 4th, right before midnight, and the officer goes, I'm on my way to the judge's house. And then the other officer responds back and he goes, well, we need you here. We need you here to drop what you're doing. We need you here. And that other officer responds back, this is pertaining to a potentially missing persons case. So
Negative. We're en route to the judge's house now. You said y'all are en route to the judge's house or from the judge's house? En route to the judge's house.
Okay,
yeah, so I think she's just talking about
right away when I heard this and I heard them say we're en route to the judge's house, my ears perked up because I remember Warren and I remember that his mother is the judge there. Okay. Now, I didn't know yet what it was pertaining to, but I kept listening. And this is what I heard.
32, finish up with whatever you got and get down here.
Currently dealing with a potential missing person.
Do you have all the information from this 1050?
10-4?
I'm 1024, 10-8. Give me a J2.
10-4.
I want to bring to your attention that I just found. So someone said that Nolan Wells' parents had sent this letter on July 20th, 2026. And let me read it to you. It says, re Nolan Xavier Wells, deceased, letter of representatives, notice of duty to preserve. So let me read this to you. So it says, representation. The firm and our co-counsel represent the parents of Nolan Xavier Wells, deceased. We are investigating Nolan's death, which occurred on the early days of July 2026 or in the vicinity of Horn Island, Mississippi. Please address all future communications regarding this matter to me and my co-counsel. If you are represented by counsel, please forward this letter to your attorney. It goes on to say, duty to preserve evidence. You are hereby placed on notice that litigation concerning the death of Nolan Wells is reasonably anticipated. Accordingly, you have an immediate legal duty to preserve all materials of kinds within your possession, custody, or control that may be relevant in any way to the claims or defenses. This duty involves not only to you.
No, this is Daphne Case Files. I just wanted to see what she was talking about. The lady that I just spoke to, the last caller, was saying that there was a 911 call. However, there's no 911 call. She's just talking about the judge. Pretty much she shares the dispatch call when the officer's en route to the judge's house, which would be the home of Warren. I would assume he still lives with his mom. He's 19. But apparently, that was just pretty much showing that they were en route to there, in regards to the missing persons case, which would be Nolan. Other than that, we haven't really missed much. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, as far as why they went to Warren's house, the judge's house, I could not tell you guys. I really don't know. I think she's trying to share, pretty much why they went there for the most part. I don't know. But it would be good to know. But for whatever reason, it sounds like the judge may have, called the police for whatever reason. I don't know. But she did put a statement out, which was odd. And she should know. You would think she would know better. I mean, because she's a judge. I'll listen a little bit more of this to see what Daphne's talking about here.
But also your family members. Because here, breaking on the day of Nolan Wells' funerals, parents sent notice to his friends and their families of intention to sue them. On top of that, moments after laying her son to rest, Nolan Wells' mother opened his estate to pursue potential claims surrounding his death. Nolan Wells' friends who have faced accusations were heartbroken to miss his funeral. However, due to death threats and out of respect for Nolan's family, they made it a difficult decision not to attend. What are your thoughts? Okay, now we're going to get into this unknown female. We were told that Nolan was with this girl, Katie. Somehow, Katie is out of the picture, and this is saying that Nolan was with another girl. How true is that? I don't know. But let's take a look. MR Marine Patrol PDF. If you guys want to look at this yourselves and read over the entire report, I will post the link to it in the description or down below in the comment section, so you're able to click on that link and go and read this entire report yourself. We will not be reading the entire report, but I will just be going over this page 3 of 15. Now, I'm going to read this to you, and it goes on to say,
dated July 4th, 2026, Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. Interesting. And if it is a different girl, that makes it even more interesting.
On Saturday, July 4th at 23:49 hours, Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, Lieutenant Patrick Karen was advised by dispatch of a caller reporting a missing male. Okay. Look at the time. 23:49. 11:49. Okay.
So it's
Nolan
almost
Wells on
midnight.
Horn Island. The caller told dispatch her 18-year-old son rode to Horn Island on a vessel with friends, last seen around 1500 hours. His phone was in a friend's truck, and all the friends said that they had returned from the island. Based on information provided at the time, Karen asked dispatch to forward the reporting party, which is Nolan's mother, to Jackson's County Sheriff's Office to make an official missing persons report. To say, shortly thereafter, dispatch advised the reporting party was calling JCSO and that the United States Coast Guard has been notified. Why I say look at this time, because it is the exact dispatch audio that you just literally listened to on my shorts feed. If you want to go revisit, this is the dispatch that I took. This has actual captions. Listen.
Negative. We're en route to the judge's house now. You said y'all are en route to the judge's house or from the judge's house? En route to the judge's house. Destin 4, I keyed up on you. Appreciate it.
32, finish up with whatever you got and get down here.
Currently dealing with a potential missing person.
Do you have all the information from the 1050?
Have the dispatch that we just literally listened to. We can tell that was Nolan's mother that called and basically said, hey, my son's missing. This is what happened. His cell phone was in one of the friend's trucks, and the friends said that they had returned from the island, but my son is missing. That dispatch correlates with what this the Marine Patrol PDF is stating here, right here on Saturday, July 4th. This is definitely at 11:49 p.m., right into the early morning hours, and then goes into July 5th. So it was Nolan's mom calling. So the police went over to the judge's house,
Good catch,
aka Warren Hudson's mother. Okay. That's where that dispatch came from. So now we have the answer to that. Now it continues to say at approximately 1:38 hours on July 5th, Karen spoke with Ocean Springs Police Department regarding the complaint and advised that JCSO would be taking lead on the case. Karen also spoke with JCSO Lieutenant Adam, the shift supervisor, who said they had taken the initial report. He said his deputies had spoke with several friends that traveled to the island on the vessel with Nolan, and that when they left, he was in the company of an unknown female. Okay.
Interesting.
This is where things get a little weird.
Yeah.
Because remember, Katie, she's
Sister.
actually never came out and spoken, but her sister spoke for her. And you all remember what Katie's sister said. So Gracie, which is Katie, the girl that Nolan was hanging out with that night, basically said her sister believed Nolan was preparing to leave with the same friends who had brought him to the island. Katie had a conversation and assumed that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out on. Gracie McCormick said Katie assumed the friends telling him to get on the boat wouldn't had left him. Gracie said her sister was visiting Horn Island with a different group than Wells and was later picked up by her brother and his fiance. She added that the family has fully cooperated with investigators and Nolan's mother. Other things that I want to show you. Breaking news. This literally just came out 23 minutes ago as I was making this video. Here is a statement from Bart, Nolan's friend's family. The Edmondson family expresses its sincere condolences to the family of Nolan Wells for the tragic loss. Like so many in Ocean Springs, across Mississippi, and across the nation, our prayers for answers and peace are with his parents, families, and friends. Out of respect for Nolan's family and the integrity of the investigation process, we have chosen not to draw public attention to ourselves as unfettered speculation raged. Recent targeted attacks on our son, Bart Jr., now makes our silence impossible. Hundreds of Mississippi Gulf Coast residents journeyed out to Horn Island to celebrate the holiday on the 4th of July, home of college. home from college. Bart Jr. was among them. He piloted his own boat to Horn Island and piloted his own boat back home. When a nearby boat suffered mechanical malfunction on the afternoon of the 4th, Bart Jr. gave advice and direct aid to the distressed vessel as part of this. He boarded the distressed vessel, removed its transom plug, got back on the boat, and towed the distressed vessel for a short distance. These actions allowed water that accumulated on the distressed vessel to drain. Bart Jr. believes that more than 20 passengers were spread across the two boats to witness these events. Others may have also witnessed from the water or the shore. When Nolan's disappearance and death came to light, Bart Jr. freely and fully cooperated with law enforcement investigating the tragedy. He sat for interviews, answered all the questions he was asked, and shared all of his recollection from July 4th. Bart Jr. also compiled a list of potential witnesses, including passengers on the boat he was piloting, to share with investigators. He allowed his phone to be viewed and shared requested photographs and videos from that day with law enforcement. He also permitted the inspection of his boat and GPS device. He did all of this without counsel, without requiring warrants and without hesitation.
Wow.
Bart Jr. has been an open book during the process. He, like so many in our community, wants thorough, fair, and impartial investigation that does not start with pre-dawn conclusion, but seeks and finds the truth. At no point in this process has Bart Jr. ever been identified as a suspect in Nolan's death. This has not stopped people from engaging in dangerous speculation, nor has it stopped outright fabrications with each new mentioned by the media or on social media. A new mob immediately argues that a person must somehow be culpable, of basically the death of Nolan. Really sad, that we've seen the actual photos from that vessel that day. Nolan's not on them. I mean, these are Nolan's friends. Look how happy he looks. Look, they're just not. I mean, these guys have known each other for quite some time. I understand what there's so many questions everybody has with this case, but until there's actually something that has been spotted, like foul play has been found, evidence of foul play, then people should definitely lay off these kids. And I'm going to say kids because they're 18 and 19. That's a kid to me. I mean, here is actual footage from the boat that Nolan was supposed to return on. Okay. This is actual footage.
Yeah, it would honestly be nice if their lawyers would speak out, considering most of them, it sounds like from what we heard, they all lawyered up. So I mean, it would be nice to hear from some of their lawyers, and maybe even see if amongst their lawyers, whether or not their stories add up or not. They're definitely going to make a lot of money from this. It turns out these boys are innocent. They're going to definitely be able to sue, I think, many people for defamation of character, because a lot of people, think that these boys did something to Nolan. See, the thing for me is I don't really necessarily think boys when I think of, the white boys that were hanging around Nolan that could have possibly done something to him. I think about a boy, in a sense of, Warren and someone else getting into something that turned real bad. I just don't see, all of them, hurting him or doing something bad to him intentionally. And that's the thing, even if they did do something wrong to Nolan, I don't see that side of things. I just see something accidentally happening and, them trying to cover it up. We're boys, you know how it is, as men, they get, we get rough. We wrestle sometimes. That's definitely likely a case that could have happened in this situation, but I don't know. I just don't see all three of them, doing something bad to Nolan. And now covering up something to help a friend out because, they feel bad for their friend. Yeah, for sure. But if something happened bad here, it would have had to, spiral out from, Nolan and one person. Otherwise, I mean, this was already all planned for them to just do this to him on this night. I really hope not. What a tough situation, man. Justice for Nolan. Man. So sad. Prayers to his family, too. I hope these guys are able to somehow can, get some answers. I mean, they deserve it. I think they've done a fantastic job, making the effort while going through grief at the same time to show up on multiple platforms to not only keep their son's name out there, but to send a message and, inform the people of what's going on and, what they're doing and why they're doing what they're doing. So it's good to see, them actively everywhere. I mean, it's not really common when people are grieving, normally, you'll hear from them here and there. But, I think that the parents have been consistent to get out here and really talk to the public somehow, some way. Justice for Nolan, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for stopping by and tuning in tonight, guys. We'll continue it on tomorrow. Any ideas, anything you guys want to share with me video-wise, feel free to email me. I would love and enjoy to hear folks' ideas as far as getting out here and, maybe trying to somehow come up with some answers here for Nancy. As you know, I've been trying to pass out flyers. I passed them out a couple times. Looking forward to doing more of that this week. So if you guys have any ideas on places to go out here, if you're from Tucson or, a place you've been curious about that you want me to go by, feel free to let me know because I'll be out and about passing flyers. And if it's worth it, I'll check it out. I did hear some updates. Well, not really updates, I guess. I heard some rumors that there was somebody passing by Annie and Tommaso's house, and there's something that appeared to be like dug up in front of the house that's bringing some suspicion to some people's minds. So maybe we'll pass by Annie and Tommaso's tomorrow or something and see what they're talking about. Although I think it's nothing. I mean, because you would have either smelled something by now if, let's just say Nancy's body was buried in the front. Or, you would have, something like flies, bugs would have been all around. I mean, unless that person is buried deep enough. But for whatever reason, people are taking interest in this pile that's in front of, Annie and Tommaso's house. Yet they still haven't been home. Although we know the investigators were there for quite some time in the beginning, taking things from the home and bringing things in the home as well to, I think, to a test or whatever they were doing that day. All we know is they went there about 4 or 5 times, too many. Much love to you guys all tuning in, guys. I'll see you guys mañana. Much love for all the support. Thank you, guys. God bless you guys for chiming in with me here tonight. Have a great Wednesday night. Actually, Thursday morning now. It's actually already almost Friday. I can't wait because I'm ready for these 2 days off. I don't work weekends, so. See y'all soon, guys. Much love. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's your boy, the Juice. Until next time, guys.
But I see who they wave through, and I see who they ask to move. Porch lights on the same old block, same old story, same old talk. If your skin says you don't belong, they can make a wrong look strong. But the fences don't define us, and the fear they feel will blind us. Every face they try to hide still stands right here tonight. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. We know what that is about. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. Your fear won't right the route. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down. driveway built on lawns. They pointed brown hands first, then pretend they don't rehearse. But the steps on every street carry more than whitewashed dreams. We belong where we stand, no permission in our hands. Yeah, and the silence won't protect you when the pattern keeps on showing. Every wall they build in pride makes the truth come back alive. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. We know what that is about. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. Your fear won't right the route. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down. Let it crack, let it show. Every lie they try to grow, one by one, the voices rise.